podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, February 13th, 2022. This is episode 1868. A quick reminder, our TWiT audience survey continues for a little more time. We really like to do this just once a year. Because we don't track you, we don't know anything about you, we'd like to get to know you. The survey helps us plan programming and, of course, helps sell advertising. It helps us a lot. It should only take a few minutes, but it's not mandatory. twit.tv/survey22 if you want to give us a hand. And thanks in advance. Now, on with the show. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Cashfly. Cashfly is giving away a complimentary detailed analysis of your current CDN bill and usage trends. See if you're overpaying 20% or more. Learn more at twit.cashfly.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk tech, you know what I mean. You know, we're talking computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, if you'd like to talk high tech. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, yes, you could still call, but you'll have to use Skype or something like that. It's free in the U.S. or Canada, so it shouldn't cost you anything outside of that. What's going on in the world of tech? Well, I don't know if this is true or not, but according to a reliable source, The Guardian, they're quoting an insurance company called Aviva. They say that there has been a 31% jump in home insurance claims involving VR headsets last year. A 68% overall increase since 2016. Well, yeah, they didn't have them in 2016. Not in the home, anyway. What happens? Oh, you know, you're wearing a VR helmet, you're playing a game, and one guy punched his ceiling fan, which probably punched back. A lady slammed into her furniture. A guy smashed through a lighting fixture. And, of course, it actually goes back to the days of the Wii U. Remember that? The Nintendo Wii had game controllers, and it would sense your motion, so you're using it to play baseball or golf, and people kept throwing them into the TV. So they came out with the wrist straps, so you'd never drop them. The average VR-related claim for accidental damage, Aviva's a British company, so this is Britain, I guess, only, UK only, £650, often from, broken TVs. One customer launched a controller at his TV when a zombie jumped out during the game. Ah! Ah! By the way, it doesn't work. In the game or in life, multiple people reported cracking TV screens, according to The Guardian. One child smashed 2 Hummel figurines on the mantelpiece when his game demanded a swipe move. Oh, yeah, sure, that's his story now. Mommy, I was just playing a VR game. It was zombies. I didn't do it. Avira says we settled all the claims. These devices, said the Avira spokesperson, whose name is Kelly Whittington. Kelly Whittington says, these devices can be a great source of fun, but we'd encourage people to be mindful of their surroundings and take a look at their home insurance to make sure it suits their needs. Oh, there's the, I knew there was something in this one. You might want to buy VR insurance. Now, I am subscribing to a new Reddit forum related to this. Reddit, I don't know if you know, I love Reddit. Reddit has good and bad, evil and good, but you choose what Reddit they call them subreddits, groups to follow, and so I only follow interesting ones, mostly technology, Mac, PC, that kind of stuff. But I'm going to start following this new subreddit, VR to ER. People doing dumb things in virtual reality. Then there's a lot of it. Surprisingly large amount. This is something, I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg really thought about this when he started talking about the Meta. Mark, did you know? Did you think this might be an issue in the Meta? Word of warning, fake Windows 11 upgrade installers are out there. This is from a site I read a lot, Bleeping Computer, Bill Toulis writing. Threat actors. This is a great name. I always think of, like, I don't know, Sylvester Stallone when you say threat actors. I'm gonna flatten you. That's not what they mean. They mean hackers, bad guys. Threat actors have started distributing fake Windows 11 upgrade installers to Windows 10 users, tricking them into downloading and executing the Redline Stealer malware. I bet you that's not the only one. I bet you they're all, once they figure this out, they're all going to do it because you've seen it, right? If you have Windows 10, Microsoft has start putting up pop-ups saying, oh, good news, Windows 11, upgrade now. Oh, good news. Not necessarily good news, but definitely not good news if you see a pop-up that, and by the way, it looks just like that Microsoft window. You click the link, it takes you to a site that looks just like Microsoft, except look carefully at the URL. Not the padlock, that's locked. And I bet you by now it's been, disabled, but windows-upgraded.com. You might even fall for that, right? Windows-upgraded. Of course, that's what Microsoft would do. No, it's malware. In fact, I think that, and Bleeping Computer says this, the bad guys were just waiting for Microsoft to put those pop-ups out so that they could do the same thing. If you click the download now button on that pop-up, and I bet you there are people listening right now who are going, oh, what? Wait a minute. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you click the download now button on this Microsoft-looking pop-up, you'll download something called Windows 11 Installation Assistant.zip. What could possibly be wrong with that? Except it doesn't come from Microsoft. And when you open it and run it, it installs malware. What does the malware do? Well, anything, I guess. Let me see. This article doesn't actually say what Redline Stealer does, but that's a name should tell you something. It isn't, don't do it. This is a big problem. Because it's hard enough for you and me to catch these. I've almost fallen for this stuff. Never yet, but I've almost fallen for this stuff. But think about Uncle Tom and Aunt Betty. They don't listen to this show. They're not, they're just normal people. And they see a pop-up that says it's time to upgrade to Windows 11. They're going to click download now. The site looks real. They're going to click it. They're going to run it. And boom, there they go. My general solution to this is normal people shouldn't be running Windows. I know you yell at me when I say that, but it's absolute truth. Normal people, unless you want to become a security expert, unless you want to be smart and sophisticated and savvy enough to see this happening and not do it, not fall for it, which is pretty hard, you shouldn't be running Windows. It's too dangerous because it's a general purpose operating system. It can do anything. It's designed to do whatever you want it to do, which means if you let bad guys in, they can do whatever they want to do. So get Uncle Tom and Aunt Betty, a Chromebook or an iPad, something where this stuff doesn't happen. If you went to this on a Chromebook, you'd see the pop-up. It would say, your Chromebook can now be upgraded to Windows 11. You might, in fact, if you're Uncle Tom and Aunt Betty, even say, well, that's odd. I'm not running Windows 10. But maybe you go, oh, good. Finally, Google's given me Windows 11. You click the button, the download proceeds, and nothing else happens because it can't be opened and it can't run. And you'll go, well, I guess I don't get Windows 11 after all. No, you don't get Redline Stealer. I don't know what else to say. If you're going to tell people to buy Windows, and see, I don't. But if you're going to tell people to buy Windows, then I think it's on you to go over to their house whenever they get infected and fix it. That's a disincentive, isn't it? 8888 Ask Leo. Car guy Sam Abuelsamid coming up in about 15 minutes. We've got Rod Pyle, Space Guy, and Chris Marquardt, Photo Guy, and all of your calls, too. It's going to be a great day. Super Bowl Sunday with the Tech Guy. That's what they should have named the Washington football team. The Red Line Steelers. You're right. There's Aunt Betty's in there. I guess Leo will always be a Windows bigot. Well, not always, but I have to say, this should be yet another brick in the wall. Hello, Sam.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Sam. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
How's the weather in Ypsilanti?
It's gotten cold again. It was 17 this morning when I went to walk.
Yeesh.
I think we're supposed to have a high of about 21 or 22 today.
Oh, we're getting up to 74 today, which is honestly not good. It's too early. You know, all the trees get confused. The cherry tree across me is blooming. Yeah, it's not good. And it means, we don't want winter to be over. We need more rain. So
yeah.
However, we did
spent a couple days in Chicago this week for the auto show.
Oh, how was that?
Not a whole lot there. It was a kind of a small show, but I had a lot of good conversations with people, and a bunch of us went out to dinner on Thursday night. We had a fantastic dinner at a Peruvian restaurant.
I love Peruvian. Yeah.
Had this great mixed ceviche plate.
Nice. Yeah, they're really amazing with seafood.
Yeah.
So the BMW dealer in San Francisco called Lisa on Friday, said, "Hey, your part came. Who did you call?" He said, "I've never seen this happen." So they got the part, which is the battery, everything, and they put it in.
I actually I was on a press briefing call with Minnie on Tuesday.
Oh, maybe that's who you called.
And they were announcing some special edition minis, and during the Q&A, I raised that question. I didn't bring up your name or anything.
Thank you.
But I did mention that it was a mini dealer in Marin that didn't know what to do with it.
Right. That's a problem.
My question had to do with are they going to get their dealers to actually get prepared?
Yeah.
And mentioned without mentioning your name or anything, just that it was a dealer in Marin, so maybe they looked into it.
Maybe. Thank you. Then we owe you a debt of gratitude.
No worries.
But it's a big problem. Like for instance, that Mustang Mach-E recall came out in December. My dealer still has, when I call him, they say, "We can't figure out how we got to find a glazier who can put the window in." And it's like, dudes, this was recalled 3 months ago. What's going on? I think dealers. I'm really not a fan of dealers anymore. That's one thing Tesla probably did right.
But I mean, Tesla has their own problems too, because their customer service has gotten pretty bad as the number of vehicles have grown. They have not grown their support network.
Yeah,
and Tesla customers often wait months for parts as well.
Yeah,
and there's only 145 Tesla service centers across the U.S. And there are 3,300 Ford dealers.
Right.
And similarly,
that's
for
a good
other
point.
automakers.
Nevertheless, if my windshield flies out, I know who to call.
Well, and the thing is, that's not an EV specific thing. That's just they've got something big, a big piece of glass on there. That particular
both the windshield and the sunroof. However, I love my Mach-E. I'm not complaining. And at Lisa's decided to stick with the Mini because she just read John Doerr's book about climate change, and he said no one should be buying a gas vehicle ever again. And she said, you're right. Okay. If they fix it and it works fine, it will be all right. Anyway, we'll talk in a few. Thank you for your intercession. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm not sure what this has to do with Kim Shaffer, but
it's Eye of the Tiger. Bengals.
Oh, I get it. Are you wearing a tiger print?
No.
If the tiger were green?
If the tiger were green.
Yeah.
There are stripes of sorts. Yeah.
It's the Eye of the Bengals. Now I get it.
Yeah.
So this is a question that we 49ers fans have to deal with. You know, today is the Superb Owl big football game between not our team.
No, the team that beat us.
The
out
team
of
that
the
beat
Super
us,
Bowl,
the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. But so Lisa, my wife, says, no, you have to root for the NFC. You have to root for your.
Wrong.
Yeah, I want the Bengals to beat those sons of guns.
So do I.
They beat us. Now I want them.
Time to take revenge.
Plus, the Bengals have never won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
The last 2 times they were in the Super Bowl, we beat them.
Yep.
So
it's their turn.
It's their turn. I'm gonna root for Cincinnati.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah. And that's why you wear your green tiger stripes.
Yeah, my green tiger stripes.
Yeah. So who should I talk to today?
Let's go to Neil in Chandler, Arizona, with the cord cutting question that is so popular these days.
Do you think maybe after Friends, the name Chandler, Arizona had a different meaning?
Perhaps.
Just a rhetorical question. Hi, Neil in Chandler, Arizona. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good afternoon, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
You?
Happy to
Go on.
happy to talk to you.
Well, thank you. Listen, I have been in my current place for a couple of years, and when I moved over here, I got Cox Cable service, and now my 2-year agreement is up. So now they're ready to jack my rates to over like $200 or so.
Yeah, isn't that great? They all do this. All the cable TV companies do this, and for internet too, and everything else, is they give you a great introductory rate, and then the fine print, it says, and we lock you in. And by the way, when your contract expires, stand back. Here comes the bill. But I went into the Comcast store once, and the guy told me, don't worry about it. Whenever your contract's about to run out, come in or call us. But I think coming in's better because you can look right in their eyes. And we'll give you the next, deal. So you could cable cut. I mean, that's what most people are doing at this point is cord cutting and saying, okay, the heck with it. Right?
Right.
And I think I suspect that's what your plan is, right?
Right. So I've had I have television from them, and I have Home Life, which is like their camera and all that stuff, and I have internet,
right?
300 megabits, which has worked fine. But then I thought, I can just get straight internet, and they have up to gigabit service here if I want it.
Yeah.
And then I could just get if I got that and went to I lost the word YouTube TV.
Yeah,
I'd still be cheaper than over $200. I would still be saving some money.
Yeah,
even with YouTube TV.
See what they charge for bare internet, because most of the time what these companies do is they increase the fee, to kind of make it. Well, you're not getting TV. Oh, well, okay, that's good. But usually it's not a whole lot. $10 more maybe. So find
the question.
Yeah,
how much?
300's plenty.
Get up.
300's plenty, unless you got multiple people trying to watch TV or YouTube or whatever at the same time. So if you've got a bunch of people in your house, then you might want more because it's all shared, right? I end up putting in gigabit because we've got our 19-year-olds going to college on Zoom. My wife is mostly work at home now, so she's on Zoom and other meeting systems a lot. I want to be able to, watch Netflix when they're working. So all in all, we decided to go for gigabit. It's expensive, but then you kind of guaranteed enough. 300's plenty though, if it's just how many other people are sharing your internet?
Well, actually, it's just myself, and I have one other television. So when I have guests, and we have 2 televisions potentially.
You're golden.
About it.
You're golden. If you had 50 megabits, you could watch UHD 4K on Netflix, and so 300's got plenty of overhead. As long as it's really 300. Now Cox, just like everybody else, oversells what they've got. The other thing to look at is what the upstream is. If you're going to be Zooming or Google Meet or any kind of video calls, FaceTime, then upstream is important too. But if you've got 15 megabits, 300 down, 15 up, something like that, which is typical, I think that's more than adequate. What is your upstream? Do you know?
Well, according to my Eero router, it says I got about 30.
That's great. You're golden. The reason that's important is if you saturate your upstream doing something, Zooming or uploading or whatever, it actually slows down your downstream because every time you get a packet on the downstream, you got to send it an acknowledgement. So if you saturate your upstream, even with backup like iDrive, that's why iDrive never uses all your bandwidth. because otherwise it would cut off your internet. So but I think 30 is more. I can't imagine you need more than 30. 330 is pretty good. I'd be happy with that.
The only thing I would ask you then to follow up is, okay, if they cap or they give you 1.25 terabytes per month.
That's where they get you.
Am I going to run up against that?
Yeah.
If I switch to all television?
Yeah, that's where they get you. That depends how much you watch, but it's easy to go over 1.5 terabytes in a month. I ended up, when I went to the gigabit, I also said, all right, fine, you win, I'll get unlimited. Comcast offers both. I don't even want to know. I haven't looked at the bill. I don't want to know how much I'm paying. But most cable providers, if you hit the cap, will give you more, but they'll charge like $10 a gigabyte. They'll charge a significant amount of money. So, or maybe not that much, $10 a terabyte maybe. But it's still, and usually they give you a few months. So what I would suggest is keep what you've got and see. And they'll warn you. They'll say, I don't know about Cox, but Comcast gives you 3 months. And I bet you Cox is similar, where they'll say, look, you went over. Oh, you went over again. If you do it one more time, we're going to have to charge you. And at that point, it's easy to call and say, okay, I'll take the unlimited, but don't buy it unless you need it. And you're right on the edge. Just depends. If you watch 5 or 6 hours of TV a night, you can easily go over 1.5.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That's what I need to find out so I can get the right service plan or right internet plan.
You could probably look at your Cox bill or go online with Cox and see how much bandwidth you've used in past months. So that'll give you a good idea. But, of course, you're right. I know what you're thinking. But now I'm a cord cutter, so it's going to go up. And you're right, it is. We end up, even though I still have cable, we stream most of the time. The next time my contract is up, I probably will cancel the TV because we stream all the time. But that's one more little tip that everybody should know is that all these companies have retention departments that are designed to keep from losing you. And they'll often re-up your better deal or something, if you ask or just even threaten and say, I'm out of here. I am out of here. Hey, a pleasure talking to you. What's the weather in Chandler today?
It's actually really nice, probably in the 70s.
Beautiful.
The 80s during the week. So it's really nice out here now. Now's the time to be here.
Yeah, this is the best time of year in Arizona, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's really hot like 5 months out of the year. The rest of the time it's really pretty pleasant here.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend in Phoenix. Made the mistake of visiting her when I was a young man in the summertime. That romance did not last. A pleasure talking to you, Neil. I don't think she had AC. That's part of the problem. Everybody in Arizona has AC. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, Sam Abuelsamid, coming up to talk cars. And we're clear. We do have 10 gigs at TWiT from Sonic. We have 10 gigs symmetric from Sonic. 10 gigabit. Isn't that nice? Can't get it at home, unfortunately. So, Patrick, if you're listening, somebody just accessed the TWiT geocache. It was fun. During this whole call, I'm watching this woman. She got out of her car. She's looking around. She can't figure out where the geocache is. She goes back to her phone. She's looking. I don't know. Maybe you might even be able to see it out the window. And I guess you can't. No, it's too bright out there. She's just out of view. But she accessed the geocache. Oh, now she's going to put something back. Good for her. You take something and you put something back. Oh, good for her. She's putting it in. Good job. Professional geocacher at work. Right on. I wish you were listening. I wish you were listening. Oh, it's too late. Don't show her license plate. But we will show you where the geocache is. John is setting up a camera.
I have to go route it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's awesome. It's funny. It happens a lot when I'm at work. I guess probably it happens when I'm not at work, too. I don't know how. Does anybody keep track of our now that Patrick's back east, I don't know. Do you know what geocaching is, Sam? You know what that is, right?
I do. When my kids were younger, we used to go and do it sometimes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We had GPS on all our phones.
Yeah.
I haven't done it for a long time, but yeah, I've done it before.
I'm 2 degrees of separation from everybody because I used to do Regis and Kelly, which means pretty much everybody. When I was, one of the advent of code problems was essentially that. And I realized as I'm solving it, oh my gosh, I could do a little 6 degrees of separation thing by scraping IMDb. It'd be very easy to create that. All right, so let's see. The geocache, you can't see the car. If she goes back to the geocache, you'll see her. But the geocache, could look, it's somewhere in this picture. Okay, I won't say a thing. This is why it was hard for her to find it. It's funny, I was watching, she was looking at it. She was looking, she wasn't sure. She looked at her phone, she's leaving. There she goes. So, cache successful. Isn't that cute? That's so cool. Patrick, thank you for doing that. That's so cool. Yeah, Patrick works remotely. He and Svet and their kids moved. Kids or kid? Can't remember. Just one, right? Just Caden. Yeah. Oh, you know who's confusing me is Lou Maresca, who's got like 15 children. Patrick moved back east. So did Lou. Patrick moved back east a year or so ago, but he still works remotely. He still does the same thing he always did. He works remotely for us. It's a beautiful day in Petaluma. Look at that. See the cherry trees? Very confused. Well, I guess it's February. Maybe that's when they're supposed to come out. Very confused.
When I decided to not go with the T-Mobile 5G home internet service, I called up Comcast to see what they could do for me. And they gave me a 900 megabit per second plan.
Nice. Yeah.
I was previously on a 250 plan.
Exactly.
It's retention. 900 for $15 a month less than what I was paying before.
You should always call them and check with them.
But it's still only 25 megabits up.
Oh. Well, that's enough. That's enough.
It'll do. I'd rather have more, but
yeah, I love our gigabit, but yeah, it's only like, I can't remember what it is, 30 up. But here at the studio, it's just 10 symmetric, so it's nice.
Yeah, Comcast doesn't do symmetric internet.
No consumer provider does. Even their business isn't symmetric, I don't think. There might be here. Might be here. I don't know. But Sonic is amazing. They have symmetric fiber. Time for me to talk about Cashfly. If you're listening to this show, you can thank Cashfly. Cashfly is our content delivery network, our CD, and we've been using them for over 10 years. We love them because they're super reliable. They have the best support ever. They're really great people. And now Cashfly's done something brand new, which I think is very exciting. Sub 1 second latency video streams. What? How can that even be? You know, if you watch our video stream, sometimes there's 30, 40 seconds latency, you know, between the encoding and then the transmission and then going out on the internet and then going out through the CDN. We should start looking at this Cashfly. I tell you what, this is not that unreliable WebRTC solution we've seen before. This is something that scales to millions of users. They call it Cashfly's ultra low latency video streaming. And your users, your audience, are going to love it. With 50-plus locations around the globe, Cashfly's POPs will deliver your content closer to your customers than ever before, because they have also something, and you should really look into this, called storage optimization system. We started using this ages ago. They now offer it to everybody. Take a load off your Origin servers, reduce, for instance, your S3 bills, increase your cache hit ratio to 100% with Cashfly's storage optimization system. It's amazing. And of course, with their elite managed packages, you get VIP treatment, 24/7 support, response times in less than the hour. In fact, most cases, they'll already know of any issues and will be working to fix them before your team does, before you even know. We've never had an issue with Cashfly. They are amazing. It's always on our side. Never on theirs. They're just fantastic. So with Cashfly, ultra low latency video streaming to deliver video to more than 1 million concurrent users, lightning fast gaming, which delivers downloads faster with no lag, no glitches, no outages, mobile content optimization, offering automatic and simple image optimization so your site loads faster on any device. That's nice. And of course, multiple CDNs for redundancy, reliability, failover. They intelligently balance your traffic across multiple providers, giving you the shortest routes, mitigating against performance glitches. That's how Cashfly can be 10 times faster than traditional methods on 6 continents, 30% faster than other major CDNs, a 98% cache hit ratio, and over the last 12 months, we're not talking 5 nines, 6 nines, 7 nines, 100% availability. Best of all, the best support with really wonderful people, 24/7, 365, priority support. They'll always be there when you need them. If you're delivering content all over the globe as we are, please do yourself a favor. Bring your usage trends, your CDN bill if you have one, to Cashfly. They're giving away a complimentary detailed analysis of your current CDN bill and usage trends. See if you're overpaying 20% or more for your CDN. twit.cashfly.com. twit.cashfly.com. See if you're overpaying 20% or more. Get the service we do from the best in the world. twit.cashfly.com. Thank you, Cashfly. You've been a boon to this network for more than a decade, and I bet they can help you too. twit.cashfly.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time for the car guy, Sam Abuelsamid. He's a principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. His podcast, Wheel Bearings, is the car podcast to listen to. Wheelbearings.media. He joins us every week. We are very fortunate to have Sam. And Sam has interceded for me numerous times with auto manufacturers, so I want to thank you. I had told the saga of my wife and her electric Mini, which she loved. She did something you should never do with pets, farm animals. Well, pets you could do, but not with farm animals or cars. You shouldn't name them. Because then it makes it hard. So she had her little bright red Mini Cooper, so cute. She called it Pepper because it's bright red like a chili pepper. And 800 miles in, it just died. It died big time, and we got it towed, and the local dealer couldn't figure it out, the one we bought it from, so he sent it down to BMW of San Francisco. They said it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks. We got to get the part from Germany. The part, by the way, was the entire lithium-ion battery assembly, the drivetrain, everything. And they said, and by the way, he said, it's all dead, and we can't figure out what's wrong with it or why it went dead until we get a new one and put it in. So on Friday, they call and say, I don't know what you did. Who did you call? We got the part already. That's never happened. Now I found out I owe it all to you, Sam, so thank you.
Well, I don't necessarily want to take the credit. I mean, I asked on a call with some folks from Mini, I asked a question more generally about if they were going to be doing anything with their dealer network as they expand the number of EVs that they offer to help get them better trained to diagnose and fix problems with the EVs.
This has been a problem. I see this all the time on Reddit, too, where people just complain about their dealer. They often, they'll send you things like, oh, it's time for your oil change. And it's just like they don't really, it's a new thing for them, and they don't really understand it yet. Training's important.
I know. I mean, I had given as an example that I had a friend who bought a Mini E from Marin.
You told them?
Marin Mini dealer. Yeah. I didn't mention your name or anything.
Yeah.
And explained that they couldn't figure it out and had to go to the BMW dealer in San Francisco. And what were they working with their dealers? And they didn't really say much to the specific question, but they said that they would look into it later.
They certainly did. Thank you.
Maybe I had some impact. Maybe not. I don't know.
And of course,
I'm just glad you're getting the car back. Angry
tweets probably didn't help either.
Yeah, I'm sure those, you'd be surprised. Those do get attention up the chain.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was, if you're watching the stream over my shoulder, you can see there's this bright blue little car. It's a new model. It was announced this week. It's called the Alfa Romeo Tonale.
An Alfa. Ooh, I love Alfa Romeos.
They're great to drive.
Looks like a station wagon or
it's a crossover.
Yeah, it's not exactly a sports car to me, but
yeah. Well, I mean, Alfa already has another crossover, a little larger one called the Stelvio, which is pretty fantastic to drive. And the Tonale is a little bit smaller. It's about the size of a BMW X1 or Mercedes GLA. And the car itself, it seems very nice. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to drive it later this year. It's going to have an optional plug-in hybrid powertrain. But what I really wanted to talk about was it's going to come with an NFT. And there's been a lot of discussion of NFTs lately, and most of it is, basically struck me as being little more than a scam. But buying links to pictures of a bored ape, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, to me, that's a scam.
Yes.
But what Alfa is doing, it may well be one of the first actual useful applications of NFT technology that I've heard about. Because what they're doing, Alfa, while their cars are great to drive, they don't have the greatest reputation for reliability. And so as a result, that has hurt some of their resale values. So what they're doing with the NFTs is they're actually setting up a secure digital certificate that will contain the vehicle's entire service history, tie that to an NFT, so it's all going to be in the blockchain.
That's a good use of blockchain.
So you have an immutable service record of the vehicle. Yeah. Or at least as immutable as it can be.
That's not really an NFT.
It's not entirely immutable, but that's a whole.
That's just putting a repair record on the blockchain, which I think is a very good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good use of the blockchain.
Right. And so when you take your car when you take a Tonale or any other future Alfa Romeo into the dealer for service, it will have, that service record will be recorded to that tied to that NFT and all recorded in the blockchain. Which, as I said, I think that's actually a good idea. There's nothing, that seems perfectly reasonable. Whether or not that'll actually help Alfa Romeo's residual values, we'll have to wait and see. We'll see in a few years, how that works out for them.
This is so people go to Carfax right now, right, to get the, and I did that when I bought a used car a couple of years ago, and then you get but who's guaranteeing it? I don't know. Carfax. If it's on the blockchain, there's no fudging it, right?
That is ideally that's the theory. Now, I have read some interesting articles about blockchain and NFTs of late, and came to the realization that there have been instances where even though the blockchain is supposed to be immutable, and you're not supposed to be able to reverse transactions, there have been cases where what they've done, and I think OpenSea has done this on a couple of occasions, where they just fork the blockchain and basically go back a couple of steps and start a new one.
The reason they can do that is because you have to, this is the NFT, the biggest NFT seller, you get the blockchain information from OpenSea. So they can change it in effect. But that's not a real blockchain. A real blockchain, everybody has a copy. There's no central place for it. So you're right. Alpha's going to have to be careful to make sure that there's nobody maintaining that quote blockchain. Because you're right. If that's the only place to get it, there's nothing to keep it. The whole idea of blockchain is that everybody has a copy.
There is also one downside, potential downside to this.
Right.
And I spoke with the head of Alfa Romeo North America a couple of days ago, and they're still working out all the details on this. But right now, only dealers will be able to actually put information in that service record in the blockchain. If you take the car to a third-party service provider, right now there's no mechanism for them to do that. They're working on how to make that a reality. Whether that actually happens, we'll see. But if they don't, if it remains a dealer-only thing, then that could be something that undermines the whole idea of right to repair.
It's like OpenSea. Right.
Well, but it also undermines right to repair.
Right.
Your ability to service the car yourself or to take it anywhere else to get it serviced.
There was a catch.
Yeah,
that's obviously the plan.
There's good and bad to all of this.
Hey, is Carfax reliable? Now that we've mentioned it, I wonder.
As far as I know, it's generally reliable.
Where do they get their data?
I think it's entered by dealers and service providers.
Yeah.
But one of the problems is that they get the vehicle identification number information, the VIN number, from state registration departments, from DMVs.
Right.
And they
so in theory, all repairs are attached to a VIN number. So you should be able to search and find everything that was ever done to that VIN number.
As long as they have accurate information of the VIN number and who owns that VIN. I'm still getting notifications from Carfax for a car that I haven't owned for a year and a half.
Oh.
and because they just didn't get updated registration information.
Yeah, DMV didn't update it. Yeah.
It can be a bit of a crapshoot.
Sam Abuelsamid, principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. If you love car tech, you will love his podcast, Wheel Bearings, at wheelbearings.media with Robbie and is it Nicole?
Nicole, yep.
Yeah. And always some interesting conversations there. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Leo.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alfa would say, oh, and by the way, you must repair it with us. But I bet you they say that anyway, right?
Well, certainly, when it's still under warranty, most people are going to take it in to the dealer to have it repaired. Yeah. So at least, and the Tonale is going to have a 5-year warranty on it. So probably for the first several years, almost all the work will be done by dealers, and hopefully by that time they'll figure out a way for third-party providers to be able to input that information into the service record as well.
Hey, John, can you put my Mac into the 3 so I can show Sam my Kalaka? Oh, why is it dark? Why is it dark? Is that me? Maybe I'm disconnected? There you go. Thank you.
Twisted Mister says you can't reverse a transaction or an Alpha.
I know. I thought that was very funny.
I've never had a problem putting an Alpha into reverse.
They're just mocking the Alpha's repair status.
But they are glorious machines to drive, especially if you get a quadrifolio. Like
see, that's what I'd like is the little sports
quadrifolio
car. Yeah, like a 2002 or something, like the BMW 2002. They're just little sporty.
Well, the Giulia and Stelvia quadrifolio models, it's a mid-size sedan, or more of a compact sedan, and a similar crossover. And the quadrifolio model is the high-performance model. It has a twin-turbocharged 2.9-liter V6 that was designed by Ferrari.
Yeah,
and,
that's the one I want.
It does about 505 horsepower.
Oh,
and when you stand on it, you put it's got when you put it in dynamic mode and step on the accelerator, it sounds so glorious. And this is the thing. I know that a Tesla Model 3 Performance will actually accelerate faster.
Yeah. And quietly too, by the way.
but it does it quietly.
Go blah, 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 blah.
But missing that sound of that engine.
I know.
It's just it's such an amazing visceral feeling that you get, and you can feel it down your spine, and it really adds so much to the experience. Yeah. But back to Carfax. Carfax does have service records that have been submitted by dealers and service providers, shops, as well as repair and damage records. I know that I regularly get notifications from them for the cars I have, saying, hey, you're reminding, it's time to go, get your oil changed or get your tires rotated. So they do get, all the maintenance information in addition to crash information. Let's see. Phoenix Warp, I think this is a question for you, actually, Leo. Did you end up getting a new car?
No, she's going to stick with the Alfa, I think.
Okay.
Because she's going to stick with electric. We'll see. It depends what's wrong with it. And I mean, my attitude is she loved the car. If they fix it and it's okay, we worry like what would have happened if the drivetrain had failed on the highway? What would that have looked like?
Yeah.
I presume it would have rolled to a stop, but who knows?
Yeah, it'll just roll to a stop, unless like the transmission seizes up or something.
Right.
Web4730 asks, my friend got sued because she was still linked to a car she sold. Says, be careful. I mean, in this case, the registration, is long since expired. Okay. My Michigan registration. So I'll hand it back to you now.
All right. Thank you, my friend. You're going to stick around for the top?
Sure.
All right. I appreciate it. We're playing a little game. Professor Laura likes to do that. She's a musical genius. So she picks songs from performers that have performed in the Super Bowl, and it's my job to say what year. Of course, I have to identify the artist first, which I'm not so good at. 8888, ask Leo. And then I have no idea which Super Bowl. She is going to perform today. at the Super Bowl, whatever. Richard on the line from West LA, our next call. Hi, Richard. Thanks for hanging on.
Thank you, Leo. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling.
When I turn on my machine, it's a Windows 10 HP connected to a monitor, if that means anything.
Okay.
I get a screen that I can deal with, and then I load up one of the browsers and do my thing. Then when I get out of it, the screen then shows literally 2-inch by 1.5 inch. I don't know what you call them, icons.
Yeah,
various.
They're giant.
Giants, and not the ones I want. If one of the ones I wanted was on that, so I wanted to go back in and maybe go to Bank of America or one of those, that would be fine. But none of the ones I want, and it just started happening 2 weeks ago.
If it were displaying the normal Windows screen, but at an extra large size, that I could explain. Where do you think these icons are coming from? Have you ever seen them before? Even not at the 2.5 inch size, but at a normal size?
Yes, a few of them, yes, and a few of them are, I think they're hidden somewhere in the machine. But a few of them I have seen before.
It is relevant that you have an external monitor. So is the HP a laptop?
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes what happens, Windows can get confused. The monitor has a different resolution and refresh rate than the internal display. And so it might be when you switch to the monitor and switch back, getting a little confused.
I don't switch. I never use the screen on the laptop. I have almost never used it. In fact, I don't think I've ever used it in the 3 and 4 years I've had this thing.
Yeah, but Windows sees it and knows it's there, so it might get confused by that. It does sound like it doesn't sound like it's that. It sounds like it's a bug in Windows. And when it does that, what do you do? How do you fix that?
Well, I'm ready to turn off the machine. I right-click that start button.
If you restart, it fixes it.
The machine goes off.
Restart it and it fixes it. But
but I don't go back to the original desktop where I have maybe 3 dozen of those goodies at the right size. And one of the reasons I'm interested in any of the above is that one of the things I have is a tax program. Now, I found a way around that. I just was filming with it before I called you, in fact. And I'm able to get into the tax program in another way. And I'm going to have to do that soon, obviously. But it's just annoying. It's not critical. I can do what I want. I can get my email and I can go to my bookmarks and all the rest of it once I load a browser.
So the browser's a normal size. It's just those icons that are giant.
Yeah, and at the end, not during whatever I'm doing, I never see the original ones that I used to have seen for years. And I'm not sure that I've done anything because I'm not smart enough, frankly.
No. Clearly, this is Windows doing something and something wrong. I'm confused, honestly. So let me see if I can walk through this and you tell me if I've got the picture of it right. Because remember, I have to visualize what's going on.
Oh, of course.
So you're in a browser, you're doing your thing, whatever.
Right.
And then what do you do that the icons suddenly get big? You close the browser?
Yeah, what I do, I don't actually, do I close the browser? I don't usually close the browser. I right-click on the start menu.
Okay.
Because I want to go into sleep mode, and then these things pop up.
Are they in the start menu?
Not that I know of.
Well, I mean, so the start menu has kind of a region that pops up with big icons on the right and stuff on the menu on the left. Do you know about that, right?
I know about that.
Okay, so it's not those icons on the right. Is it in the, what I'm asking, is it in that region that pops up when you click the start menu?
No.
No. It's on the desktop. So you click the start menu, and suddenly the desktop has giant icons on it.
Exactly.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm not sure what's going on. You click the start menu. Does the start menu look completely normal, including the icons in the start menu?
Yeah, I right-click it because what I'm doing, I want to put it into sleep mode. And then it goes into sleep mode eventually, but these icons pop up.
And when you restart Windows, everything gets better and it's usable again until...
I work it doesn't start the way it used to, but that's the way life is.
What happens when you start Windows?
Okay, I started from sleep mode by clicking that.
No, I'm talking about restart. So you click that start menu, and instead of selecting sleep, you select restart. Have you ever done that?
Let me think for a second. Restart. No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, you want to do that from time to time anyway. Windows does not do well over a long period of time. I bet you, I'm just going to suggest this at kind of off the cuff because I'm not sure what's going on. But I bet you if you click that start menu, and you have the on-off icon, you click the on-off icon, and you've been choosing sleep. And
right.
Sleep is what's confusing it, I think. Probably it's hibernating and it's getting confused. But if you choose restart and the behavior goes away, I think you're all right. You don't need to actively select sleep. It'll go to sleep. You can change the timing in your power settings, but it'll go to sleep after a period of time. If you want, you can change it to 5 minutes so it goes to sleep almost right away. You don't need to manually sleep it.
Well, that's good to know, too.
Yeah, and I think that Windows is notorious for having trouble with a setting called Hibernate. So to understand this, you need to understand the difference between sleeping and hibernation. And it's not like a bear. Sleeping merely, as you know, turns off the screen and tells the computer, okay, you can go into a low power mode. Not off, but a low power mode. And the reason sleeping is good is because, for instance, memory, your RAM, has to constantly be refreshed or it forgets everything. And so sleeping is always, it's a few watts. It's a lower power, but not off mode, okay? That there is a mode called Hibernate, which is notoriously problematic in Windows, where it takes the contents of your memory, this stuff that wouldn't be preserved if you didn't stay in a low power mode, and saves it to the hard drive and then, in effect, turns off. It is a zero power mode. But the problem with that is when you wake it up, it has to load in what it saved to the hard drive, and that can cause a problem.
What kind of a problem?
Well, like what you're describing, all kinds of problems, because Windows Hibernate doesn't do very well. It's enabled by default. I often tell people to turn off Hibernate. In fact, there's a couple of things to turn off that make Windows more reliable, and they're related. One is the fast startup feature, which is essentially hibernating before shutdown, and one is Hibernate. Both of those are bad because if I were to anthropomorphize the computer, it's groggy. So it's just like a bear that's been sleeping in a cave for 6 months. When it first wakes up, it's kind of confused. And Hibernate often is a confusing situation for a Windows. The programs don't know they've been stopped. And so a lot of things get confused by that. I suspect this is related. I think what's happening is your system might be hibernating. So the first thing is restart instead of sleep for the first time. And from then on, don't click sleep anymore. If you want to change the power management to have it sleep sooner, you can. But you don't need to manually do that. Let Windows do it. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. It's also Hibernate. A lot of issues with Windows come up with Hibernate and what they call fast start. So one thing you might do is turn off fast start. That might be all you need to do. But restart your machine. Actually, first thing I would do is turn off fast start in Windows. You're Windows 10, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little tricky because you have to bring up an old school configuration dialog. Maybe I don't need to walk you through this.
You're dealing with the wrong person.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's not going to be a good idea. It's Windows key R. You type power config.cpl. You hit enter. It's not. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Try just restarting it. I think it might be, if you haven't done that in a while, Richard. Sometimes Windows. I would say Windows should be restarted every few days for reliability.
One other thing to tell you, by the way, because this is obviously an odd situation. I was the nut who called you about that buzzing on.
Yeah. Did you ever figure that out?
You threw up your hands.
Yeah, I threw up my hands.
Almost exclusively on Netflix videos.
Yeah.
Films.
It's something to do with Netflix, and I still think it's something to do with Netflix choosing the wrong audio configuration, choosing a Dolby or something like that your receiver can't handle. I'm almost positive that's what it is.
It's really weird. I talked to a friend of mine who seems to be pretty good about audio stuff, and he threw up his hands.
Yeah.
He said, try this, try that. And I did. It's nothing horrible because, as I told you, I just switched to the horrible.
Did you do the thing I suggested, which is to go into your TV settings and where's the audio coming through? It's coming through a stereo, right? You have a receiver?
A stereo, an Onyx receiver, Onyx or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Those are good. Yeah. I have an Onkyo as well.
When I turned them off, I go through the tinny sound of a Vizio.
Yeah. What you want to do is tell the Vizio, because the Vizio is feeding the Onkyo, tell the Vizio to not send Dolby. I think your Onkyo can't handle Dolby, and Netflix is sending Dolby. Or maybe go into Netflix and you want to look at the audio settings in Netflix and say, I don't want any fancy surround sound. I just want the bit stream. Honestly, I think that'll fix it. You don't need to right-click the start menu, by the way. You could just left-click it, and it'll come up. I'm not sure why you're right-clicking it. And that may have something to do. Well, no, I don't think so. Here's what you do. When you shut down, do this once. Do the restart. So left-click the start menu. Click that on-off switch icon, the circle with the dash in it.
Right.
Hold down the shift key, then click restart. That turns off fast restart. It'll clear out that hibernation file, and that may be enough to fix it for good.
Okay, it's not something today. Before I called, as I said, I wanted to see if I can access my block tax program, and I found a way to do that.
Oh,
it's
good.
Hard. It's just,
but it shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be doing it. I'll give you a shortcut. If on your keyboard, there's a Windows key, right? It's a weird key with if you hit that, you can start typing the first few letters of any program and then hit return. It'll pop up. So if you hit the Windows key and type, what's the H&R Block tax program called? Taxes?
H&R Block. I don't know the exact.
Just start Windows key, type BLOCK, and hit return.
Oh, okay.
And that'll quickly launch it. You don't need icons at all.
Right. Okay. Thank you. It's weird.
Yeah. There's a workaround. Hey, I always like talking to you, Richard. You come up with the toughest problems. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, I love it. Have a good day.
And a good day later this afternoon.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Good luck. All right, Sam. Let's get. Oh, I got to take it back. John's been messing with the doohickeys here. All right. Now it's your turn, my friend.
All right. So in Chicago this week, there wasn't actually any new vehicles revealed that hadn't been shown before. There was a few that hadn't been at an auto show previously, but like vehicles like the Chevy Silverado EV that's coming out next year, the new Ford Bronco Raptor, and some others, but there were no actual new vehicles. Probably the biggest story out of the Chicago Auto Show this year was found by a friend of mine named Larry Valaquette, who writes for Automotive News. He was at an event on Wednesday night, and he was talking to the head of the Chicago Automotive Trade Association, which is the dealer group that runs the show, and found out an interesting tidbit about the Camp Jeep display. So back about 15 years ago at the Chicago show, Jeep started doing an indoor driving demonstration facility for Jeep vehicles, for their off-road vehicles, to show them off so that customers, when they come to the public days of the show, could try them out, try climbing steep hills and going over boulders and things like that. And they called it Camp Jeep. And part of that was they had this 18-foot hill with very steep ramps that you could drive a Wrangler up, climb over this hill. It was about 18 feet tall. It was a steel rig. Last year, when they did the Chicago show in July, it's usually in February, but they did it in July last year because of COVID. Ford had just launched the new Bronco, which is a competitor to the Wrangler. They did their own driving demo area. They came up with Bronco Mountain. Turns out Bronco Mountain was 21 feet tall. about 3 feet taller than the Jeep display. So this year at the Chicago Auto Show, Jeep was back with a new mountain for their driving display, and turns out it's 28 feet tall. You can tell that executives in the auto industry are very, very competitive people, and Jeep did not want to be shown up by their new competition from Ford. So they built the tallest hill they could possibly fit inside of the McCormick Place Convention Center in Chicago without having the roofs of the vehicles hitting the roof of the show hall. So they built a 28-foot tall mountain that you can climb over in a Wrangler. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of actual news at the show, but the Alfa Romeo Tonale that I talked about earlier was actually announced a couple of days before the show and was not actually in Chicago. But the Tonale will be going on sale in Europe in June of this year, and then it's coming to North America this fall. So probably in the fourth quarter, you'll be able to get a Tonale complete with an NFT. Let's see what else we got here. Another interesting tidbit of news that came out last week was with Tesla with their response to the chip shortage in China. Tesla vehicles for the last several years have had a dual circuit power steering system, which was designed to provide a redundancy if and when they ever enabled full self-driving. Because for full self-driving, you've got to have redundant systems for steering and braking and some other things. Because if you have the possibility that there won't be a human driver in there that can take over steering control if something like power steering system fails, you've got to have a backup system to do that. And in order to save on the number of chips they had to install on the Model 3 and the Model Y built in China, they simply removed that secondary circuit or the controller for the secondary steering circuit. And while that's not a problem for those vehicles as long as they're being driven, I mean, it's basically the same as most other cars on the road. Because if the power steering fails, you can still steer the vehicle. You just have to put more effort into the steering wheel to do it. They didn't bother to tell their customers that they were doing this, and so those vehicles now, without going back and doing a retrofit at some point in the future, will probably not ever be able to enable full self-driving, which is something that Tesla has been touting for many years that all of their cars will be capable of doing with just software updates. They will actually have to go back and do a hardware fix to those vehicles to enable that. But those vehicles have not come to they're sold in China and in some European markets, but they're not sold over here. So, but they didn't bother to tell their customers in China about this change until somebody happened to stumble across it. But it's one of the things that many automakers are doing, which is removing features to get around the chip shortage.
Thank you, my good friend. Hope to see you next week.
Yep, I'll talk to you next week,
You
Leo.
coming out anytime soon? Tell those automakers.
Nothing scheduled yet, but hopefully
back to Carmel.
soon. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, augmented reality, security, anything you can think of that has to do with technology, even buzzing speakers and giant icons. 8888, I did not help. I did not help at all, our last caller. 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. Fast startup on Windows is kind of notoriously a problem in Windows. It's kind of complicated to disable it. It's a control panel that Microsoft has hidden that still exists. You remember the old school Windows, I guess Windows 7 for sure, maybe Windows 8, control panel? They started to migrate it, I think, in Windows 8. And by Windows 10, they went to these kind of user-friendly control panels. This is always a problem in computing. User-friendly often means sophisticate hostile. It's easy to use means you can't do as many things as you used to do. And one of the things a lot of users want to do is turn off fast startup or hibernation. So, but the Microsoft, in their wisdom, I guess this was wise, or maybe lazy because they didn't want to take it out, left the old control panels in. You just can't get to them unless you know the magic incantation. Maybe they left it in so that people can look like wizards. I shall now invoke the magic incantation to bring up the control panels of yesteryear. You ready for it? Windows key plus R brings up the run dialog. That's just where you type in some text. Windows key plus R, and then you type POWERCFG.CPL. CPL means control panels, the old control panel extension. And I think you can figure out what POWERCFG is, power config. Yes, it's the old power options control panel, the one you can't see anymore. If you hit enter, then you can see it, and then you can turn off. Maybe you could do it from the new control panels. I like being the wizard with the incantations. 8888 Ask Leo is a phone number. That's how you get a hold of me. From Corona Del Mar, California, one of my favorite places on the coast. Chip. Hello, Chip.
Hi, Leo. I'm thinking of getting the Samsung S22 Ultra.
Ooh, me too.
I'm probably going to get it with the 512 gigabyte. My concern is, what's the best way to get protection for it? Insurance for drops and that sort of thing.
Yeah, Samsung offers protection like that. However, it is not cheap. In fact, I've noticed some people complaining because for the S21, if you bought the protection, I think it was like $39 to replace a cracked screen. It was a good price, and it's gone up a lot. And it's more than $100 now to replace a cracked screen. So
$250 for the S22 Ultra.
Is it? Holy cow.
Yes.
That's for the insurance, or that's just to replace the cracked screen?
That's what it says, to replace the screen on the Samsung website. If
you have the insurance?
I chuckled.
That's cray. Now I know why people were complaining. I didn't, what? So I don't usually, in fact, I never do. I bought the S22 Ultra when it came out on Wednesday and, pre-ordered it for having a couple of weeks. But I never buy the insurance because that's a real profit center for all these companies. And when I hear profit center, it tells me they're charging more than it's worth, right? They're charging more than it costs them. So I always choose to self-insure. But on the other hand, I don't drop phones. I haven't cracked a screen in a long time. But that seems like an awfully high price. You know what you might do is call iBreakYouFix or one of these, little kiosk phone repair companies and say, well, how much would it cost? Do you know yet what it would cost you to replace the S22 Ultra screen? Because I bet it wouldn't be $256. Unless there's some magic potion that Samsung's using on those screens. That's after insurance, $256. Crazy. Do you break your screen a lot?
No, actually, I use one of those holsters with the two-part. There's a shell that goes on the phone and the that goes on your waist, and it's got a kickstand. And I've never broken a screen on anything. The only problems I've ever had is when the phone itself internally starts to get wonky and goes bad. Through Verizon, I've replaced 2 phones in the last 16 years or 18 years. All the time I've been paying the insurance through Verizon.
So you're a good candidate to self-insure. You would have saved money, obviously, because you don't break things. Yeah, I see. At least Samsung, to their credit, on the website, puts that right up front. Add Samsung Care Plus for extended coverage, your phone with added peace of mind. Cracked screens repaired for merely $249. What? And by the way, you're paying for 2 years $220 for the insurance. Service fees range from $99 to $250. Coverage for accidental spills from handling. Yeah, except the deductible, right? That's what you care about. I never buy that stuff, but that's outrageous. That's really outrageous. There's probably Square Trade and others. There are other companies that offer insurance if you want insurance. And you can go around and look, see what Square Trade, for instance, which is probably the best known. In fact, Samsung, for all I know, uses them. But go to Square Trade is run by Allstate, and go check them. Now, I have to say, we bought Square Trade.
Uses Assyrian.
Assyrian. Okay, well, so see if there's competitive pricing from Allstate, from Square Trade. I have to say, we use Square Trade to warranty our dishwasher. That has not worked out well. Not at all. I think I've told this story before, but our dishwasher this couple of weeks ago stopped draining. That happens with dishwashers. And I, being a handyman, no, not at all, did all the things you're supposed to do, took the hose off to the air gap and made sure everything was clear and cleared everything out. It drained, but then it failed again. So we called Square Trade. We bought the warranty. My wife did. I never buy warranties. Anyway, she bought it. They sent a guy out who didn't do anything. He put his hand on the motor and said, "Oh, I think it's okay," and left. And now we can't get anybody to return our calls. And Allstate has sent us parts, but they say you're gonna have to find somebody to fix it because we don't have anybody. What? So now, and I'll fill you in as this proceeds. But now we're trying to say, well, look, we bought insurance. You're not fixing it. You need to give us a new dishwasher. That will be interesting. No, the motor wasn't the issue. It turns out, I think it is all these devices now are controlled by sophisticated computer chips, and this might be related to the problem. Oh no, wait a minute though. We have the part. I was going to blame everybody blames now the shortage, the chip shortage. Well, no, we have the part, so it's not that. I guess I could try putting it in, but that seems a recipe for disaster. Should I invite Burke over? Burke, I'll make you a brisket if you'll fix the dishwasher. Now that's a Square Trade. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Not a whole brisket. You'll share it with me, okay? And you bring the creamed corn and beans. He's got a lot, apparently. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, Steam, I think that's exactly right, Ari. Steam gets into the control panel. It's not the first time this has happened. And it short-circuits the circuitry. Yeah, it will void the warranty, except what good is the warranty if they won't fix anything? We don't have anybody that can fix a dishwasher. What are you talking about? So John, you would know how to do that? Replace that? Oh, you're good. Well, I'm tempted. I mean, we have the circuit board. So they sent the pump, and then Donnie came out, put his hand on the pump, said, no, it's not the pump. And it was something else. Maybe it wasn't the pump. But anyway, he took the pump part with him because what I would have liked is to replace the part, but he didn't. He said, no, I feel the pump. I feel the pump. He's the pump whisperer. So, but Lisa was mad because this is not the first time we've had dishwasher woes. The previous dishwasher, she says that like 20 guys came out. Nobody could fix it till we got the one guy who brought actual diagnostic equipment who said, oh, yeah, these boards are fried, and replaced them. And it worked. Till it must have died again because we got a new dishwasher at some point. But anyway. Yeah, I did all that. Yeah, it's like error E9R1 or something. And yeah. Well, that's my fear. You know, the drain hose was so deep inside the thing, I couldn't really get the other end off, so I got the one end off. Honestly, but Lisa won't do that. There's just three of us. It's easy to, I don't mind hand washing the dishes. I like to do it. But I guess we paid for a dishwasher. It's only a year old. Yeah. And we paid for Square Trade. But now Square Trade says, well, we don't have anybody. So it's my job now on Monday. I was supposed to do it on Friday, but too tired. I have to call every dishwasher repairman in the 9-state area and see if anybody can come and say, hey, we've got the part, so I'm going to do that. And I guess they'll reimburse us if we can find somebody who can do it. Leo Laporte, half a point. Leo Laporte, the half a point tech guy, 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Gail is in Texas Canyon Lake. Hello, Gail.
Hi, Leo. Big fan since the cottage days.
Oh, it's great to hear from you. Thank you.
Well, I have a question. I got my Starlink in this week.
I'm so jealous.
Yes. I ordered it a year ago this month.
So I should check. Did you get an email? Is that how you found out it was available?
Yeah.
Because I put the $100 down about a year ago, so I should check.
Yeah. You should. Yeah. Well, they'll tell you, but I was checking like daily the last month.
Yeah. Yeah. You're excited now. What's your current internet provider situation?
Well, we're rural. We're in the middle between Austin and San Antonio.
So how do you even get online? Is it a phone call or what?
It's where the rural co-op phone provider or satellite.
Okay.
Are options. Yep.
Yeah, and traditional satellite, Exceed, Hughes, they're not great. They have bandwidth caps. There's speed limitations.
What I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Starlink seems like a good bet. It's expensive.
Well, for me, actually, because they make you keep your landline even though you don't need it, because they tell you, it's more expensive if you don't have your landline for internet.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of that.
So it's actually going to save me. I'm paying $140 now, so it'll be $99.
Oh, you're saving $50.
Exactly.
That's exciting.
So my question is, and I'll keep you updated as best as I can get a hold of you, but should I go with telescopic or a fixed pole? And I have to do 20 feet, and I could do a pivot fixed pole, but a telescopic, I wonder if it wobbles more.
Here's the issue. The Starlink needs to have a very clear view of the sky because the satellites are moving.
Correct. That's why I need 20 feet. So,
do you have a lot of trees around the house?
Just one.
Just one. You need to get it above. You need to have it be, ideally anyway, it doesn't have to be, but it would ideally be able, if you were sitting on that pole, to see the horizon all the way around.
Yeah, and that'll be 20 feet, but I guess my question is, would a telescopic wobble more?
I don't have any experience with them, so I don't know. Maybe the chat room has tried it. The nice thing about the telescopic is you can adjust it.
Right.
And, Starlink gives you a nice bit of little software that will really help you position it. And they give you feedback all the time about obstacles. So you really know how it's affecting you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would look at reviews from Starlink users on the telescopic.
Okay.
You're not getting it from Starlink. You're getting it from a third party, right?
Well, it's an option.
They sell it?
They sell it on Starlink. They sell one, but we have metal poles at our shop.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of companies that sell them. I see one called a Luma Tower. You can get it on Amazon that goes up to 34 feet. Even if it's telescopic or not, the higher you get it, of course, the more it's going to sway. But swaying isn't the end of the world unless...
Okay, that's not an issue. That was my concern, yeah. If it sways more, if that is a problem.
Because of the way I don't have any experience with it yet because like you, I've been waiting. But my understanding is because of the way Starlink works, the dish moving a bit's not going to be a problem.
That's what I'm kind of thinking, too, because you're constantly hooking up to a satellite, I guess, somehow.
Cal Sage gives me the words. I've seen wobbly poles work fine with Starlink since it's a phased array.
Ah, okay.
So, there you go. I don't know what that means, but that's good. So, yeah, I've seen, here's one, a 30-foot telescopic kit. Yeah, I would just, this is where Amazon's your friend. Look at reviews for people who've tried it with Starlink and see.
Yeah,
it is going to sway whether it's telescopic or not. The higher it is, it's just the nature of a pole. It's going to sway unless it's really thick and big. And I mean, you could put in a flag. They have flag poles that don't sway.
Right. Well, it's only 20 feet, and we'll have like a good solid 1.5 inch, 2 inch post.
I think I am so jealous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're gonna suddenly be in the real world, because these days a lack of internet is terrible.
Right.
Terrible.
Well, yeah, we're small business owners, and we need the internet. That's everything we do. We're an hour drive to either city, so yeah.
But now, in fact, this is one of the reasons I ordered one. I don't need it where I am. But I have this fantasy of doing the radio show everywhere in the world.
Well, me too.
You could work anywhere. Now, currently, Starlink is tied to your location. They don't allow you to move around with it. But they say coming down the road, they will be doing that, and that's why I wanted to get in early on this. Well, and for those who don't know what we're talking about, this is Elon Musk's SpaceX strategy. In fact, it's kind of he's got an interlocking financing situation where he's getting one to pay for the other. But they've been launching satellites. They lost I think it was 40 satellites last week because they got hit by a solar storm. But that's okay. They're making 100 a week. Their idea is to get 12,000 satellites up in the sky, low Earth orbit, very low Earth orbit, and provide internet to every square inch of the planet, which, wow, is pretty ambitious, and yet he's doing it.
He's doing it.
He's doing it, and
he's a thinker.
Yeah, he is. This is really interesting, and it was in beta for a while, and now they're starting to roll it out, and you have to go to Starlink and sign up and give them $100.
Club right now.
Yeah, it's a small club. And that's the other question, is what's it going to be like as more people use it? But there are so many satellites. I don't know if it's not designed for a huge number of people to use it. So
he's launching away and making rockets every month.
I know. It's amazing. Yeah. So the last email I got from Starlink was August 2021. Your payment has been processed.
Well, for your deposit?
Yeah, my deposit. So I better log in, because if you're getting it in Texas, maybe I'm going to start getting. That's exciting. Congratulations.
Well, it was a year, so in February. So,
it takes a while. Takes a while. Let's see. Starlink expects to expand service in your area in 2023. So I'm still a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I might have snuck in there right before the whole COVID.
Good job.
Whatever.
What a lifesaver, though, for you. What has your speed been?
Well, right before, when I called you, I did do a little test on, I forgot the website, but it said 268 down and 81 up.
268 megabits?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're doing fine. I don't think you're going to get that much with Starlink.
Well, you know what? But I don't like the $50 little.
So they must. So what they're doing? Yeah, they're running fiber out to their location. This is actually a good solution. Then they're providing community internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're in the older part, because the new building around here is all fiber. But anyway.
So they've got fiber and they're just selling it off, but it's expensive. Starlink is going to be. I can't wait to hear how it works for you. Good luck, Gail. Have fun. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ah, yes. Whenever I hear that song, whether I'm in a grocery store or or on the radio, I think of Chris Marquardt, the photo guy. He's my personal photo sensei at sensei.photo. Joins us every week to talk about getting better pictures. Chris, I ordered the new Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra.
Oh, you did?
Well, it's part of my job. Thank goodness. It's the main reason I'm doing this, to get all this
great
stuff.
Excuse.
Yeah, it's a good excuse. When I asked my wife, she says, you have to. I said, oh, okay. It's part of my job. Because I'm curious about the cameras. I tell you, it's a real horse race between Google, Apple, and Samsung to make the best cameras. Yes. So I'm very curious. And one of the things all three purport to be able to do is take pictures of the night sky.
Yes, so that's what I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
The night sky. And
night
for everyone,
sky.
okay, we'll try to I'll try to get to the smartphones at the end of this, but just in general, there are things in the night sky, and if you have a camera, kind of a modern-ish camera, then or even a DSLR or something, then you'll be able to take pictures of things. And I want to look at 4 different things here. The first one being kind of let me bring up some photos here, kind of being the easiest one to shoot is the star trails pictures. Like when you put the camera on a tripod and then just expose.
How
Maybe
long
half
is this
an hour.
exposure? They're just an inch or
This
so.
one.
1 hour.
Yeah, maybe half an hour. That should be 15 minutes, maybe half an hour. So you put the camera up on a tripod, you use a remote shutter of sorts there. You might have an app on your phone for that now. And just long expose it, set the camera to bulb mode, use a low ISO and just go for it. And the longer you can go with your camera, the longer those star trails will be. There's also software that lets you take. There's software that lets you take multiple shorter pictures and then just stack them together later on. So there's different ways to do that, but it's a fairly simple entryway into shooting pictures of the night sky. The second thing that people want to shoot is, of course, the moon, and that is easier than you might think because the moon is. The sun shines directly at the moon. The moon is really bright in the sky. It's so bright that usually when you point your smartphone or a camera in automatic mode at the moon, it will just overpower things because it's so bright. So you end up with a white blob in a black sky. But if you have a telephoto lens, the longer the better. So like your 100 millimeter lens won't really do you any good. So we're talking 500, 600, 800, something longish. Then you can even shoot moon photos handheld. You don't even need a tripod for them. It's relatively simply, the one thing you want to look up for that is it's called the Mooney 11. It's kind of a rule of thumb that will give you the settings to set your camera to get a good exposure of the moon. And again, Mooney 11 is the thing to look for. I think it's even on Wikipedia. And this way you can shoot moon photos with a telephoto lens handheld. I've done it. And it comes out tack sharp. Not too hard. Of course, if you have a bit of let's say not super telephoto lens, a 200 millimeter or something, then the moon might come out a bit smaller on the photo. But
you could zoom in on that, right? You could crop in.
You can crop in. Yes, you can crop in because today's cameras, they have, I don't know, a gazillion megapixels. So you have enough pixels there to just crop it out. That's just fine. Of course, you can, if you catch the moon, not as a full moon, but somewhere in the middle, then you'll get a nice lesson in photography, which is that the light coming from the side brings the textures out. So you get the craters and everything when the light comes from the side, which is very cool. And of course, if you have a really good long lens, then you can get all the details of the moon that you want. Of course, bonus points if you add other stuff in there. This is an example of an airplane, a silhouette of an airplane in front of the moon. So that is pretty cool.
Wow.
But that requires planning and some luck, I guess. Second thing in the sky is the Andromeda Galaxy. That one is up to 6 times as big as the moon. It's just not as bright, so we don't really see it. But if you are in a really dark area, you can actually see it with your eyes.
So this isn't a telescope. This is just
that's a 300 millimeter lens. Believe it or not, it's just 300 millimeters on an APS-C sensor on a regular normal sensor. And for that, you need a what's called a tracking mount, something that you put on your tripod that keeps the camera motion moving with the sky.
Because you're going to have to time lapse this. How long is this?
You have to time lapse this. Yeah. We're talking 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, maybe, depending on your settings.
As slow as that is, you would still if you didn't have a motorized mount, the stars would streak.
They would. So motorized mounts are a bit specialized, of course, but for someone who's really into that kind of astrophotography, that is kind of a must. And then, of course, the Milky Way. The Milky Way is out there, depending on if the moon's not up in the sky, it's easier to take a picture of the Milky Way. And, of course, that one, you can actually... With modern smartphones, you can actually take a picture of the Milky Way with a smartphone.
Wow.
And that is maybe not quite this one, because that's a really good one. But if you have a slow shutter app or a night app, or even the latest smartphones have a night mode that will help you take pictures of the stars, that and a bit of post production will give you the Milky Way on a smartphone.
It's beautiful.
And then, of course, what you can do is to just add some interest. You can combine a really interesting foreground picture with a picture of the night sky taken from the same location, a bit of editing magic, and then you end up with something like this, where you have the car lights, streaks in the foreground, and the Milky Way on top of it.
Credit to Lucas Schlagenhauf for that, because that is maybe one of the most amazing astrophotography pictures I've ever seen. That's incredible.
And credits to everyone who takes these pictures and puts them on Flickr and allows others to put them in their galleries. That's what I've been doing here. I've been scouting these and selecting pictures that other people have taken.
We put a
really
link.
Amazing.
We put a link to the gallery in our show notes. I also put it in the chat room, so you can see them for yourself, because I know it's radio and you can't. But boy, those are beautiful. Were any of those taken with smartphones, or were they all with professional cameras?
I don't think so. Yeah. Not sure.
But Google has made a lot of hay about how we can do astrophotography now in the Pixel 6, and Apple's starting to do that. I'm sure Samsung will do it.
Yeah, get a tripod and a little holder for your phone, and then you're set to take star pictures with this smartphone.
And find somewhere without a lot of city light scattered through the sky.
It helps, yes.
You live far away enough from the city lights to be able to get good sky photos where you are.
Yeah, it's not too bad out here in the countryside, but I mean, I've been to some deserts and spaces where it is really dark, and that's when it becomes really interesting. Yes.
What's our assignment this week, Chris Marquardt?
The silly assignment is still up.
We're looking for pictures that illustrate the word or concept silly. If you find one, and by the way, we don't judge you based on the camera you're using. Use an Instamatic if you want. If it's a silly picture, that's all that matters. And tag it, though. Upload it to Flickr with the tag TG for Tech Guy Silly, TG Silly. Submit it to our Tech Guy group. If we got a few more weeks for you to take a silly picture, then Chris is going to do a roundup of 3 of his favorites. Thank you, Chris. Sensei.photo. Take care. Excellent. Thank you, my friend. Very good.
I will have to skip next Sunday.
Okay, we'll make a note of that. Laura and John, no Chris next Sunday.
I'll visit my parents.
Oh, that's good.
Aww. Yeah, I haven't seen them in way too long. So
good.
It's about time again.
Good. All right.
So
thanks, Chris.
See you in 2 weeks.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Yeah. Is this the first time the superb owl and Valentine's Day have been 2 consecutive days? Who cares? 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. From Northridge, Alex is on the line. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome. Technical question a little bit. So we have an executable file, .exe.
Yeah.
And we use a device. We are prototyping a device to load that exe file on it using FTDI chip to program the microcontroller. The current Windows machine that I have, Windows 10, all of a sudden it just does not. It goes into the terminal and it just
doesn't run it.
Quits.
Yeah,
it quits. Right? I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe it's the code. Maybe it's my device. So I went to Best Buy, bought one of those Cube Lenovo's, plugged it in. It worked. The .exe loads once.
Interesting.
Twice, 3 times, 4 times. Now it reaches to like number 7, and it quits. No longer able to do the executable. I'm like, what's going on here? So I reset. When you go to the prompt and reset this PC. I reset the PC, then it works again up to 7 times, and then quits again.
So what you're running into is the auto run issue. Auto run, if you think about it, is a dangerous thing because if you plug in a device and it automatically can run an executable.
It's not automatic. You have to double click on it.
Oh, it's not. You're not using autorun.inf to get it started.
No.
So you're plugging in a mass storage device of some kind.
Yeah, it's based on an Atmega 832P with just a small device that we use.
But it appears to Windows as a mass storage device,
exactly.
as a drive. Okay,
exactly.
So you're plugging it in. Windows, of course, has to do plug and play. It goes doom doom and says, "I see a new drive," and it goes doom doom.
It does.
It does all of that, and you can look at the drive. You can open the drive window, and the first 7 times you try it, you can double click the exe and it runs.
Yep.
The 7th time, it just brings up a terminal with nothing.
Well, the terminal almost starts, but then it shuts down automatically. Instead of writing a bunch of hashtags and reading and writing, it doesn't even get to that point anymore. It just quits.
That's a really interesting conundrum.
So I tried it on my neighbor's computer, and there are no problems. Keeps running and running every time. And I asked him, what kind of computer do you have? And he's like, I don't know, just a normal computer, I guess.
You plug in the device, it recognizes it. Even when it won't run the program, it'll recognize it. Is there something about the exe that's unusual? It's your code?
No, because remember, it works the first 7 times.
Yeah, but it's your code?
Yes.
Okay. Boy, that's a really interesting question. I'm not sure. I think this is one where you've got to, I'm going to put it on you. There's a bug in your software that is triggering something, and I'm not sure what. It might be a security issue because remember, nowadays Windows has to be very cautious about what people are running.
Sure.
And so it might be a security issue. The 7 times is a hint to you that something's happening the 7th time.
But the neighbors, it goes 10. No, there's no limit on my neighbor's computer.
All of them, it just runs and runs and never stops.
Yeah,
never. And is it an older computer? Is it the same version of the operating system?
Windows 10.
Huh. So it's modern OS.
So I thought maybe there is something that is like on my Mac. At some point when I used to do it on my Mac, when I go to my network, I would see all of those FTDI chip serial numbers.
Yeah.
All of them, like hundreds of them, because every time you plug it in, the Mac registers it in the network list, basically. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So is there anything on Windows that, other than resetting the stupid computer every time, is there a way to?
I think what does this exe do?
It flashes this particular device that we're working.
Okay, it's a flasher, and so it's not your software; it's the software from the. It is
using the Arduino. I export the hex file.
But it's something you wrote, but the loader is their loader, right? It's not your loader, or do you use your own loader code?
No, it's just my own code, and what it is just a batch processor, basically.
Okay.
The terminal, and it loads.
So it calls up a terminal and then executes a bunch of commands in the terminal.
That's right. That's right.
So that shouldn't be a problem. There's not a memory leak issue or anything like that. No. Seems like, though, that there's something critical going on that's triggering Windows at some point to say, I don't want to load this anymore, but I have, and I haven't. It sounds like it might be a security thing. It's possible, completely possible, that the neighbors have a slightly different version, I would look at all of the numbers in the Windows 10 version to see if there's a different thing in the version.
But there's nothing for Windows that you can clear cache. Even if I turn off the computer, turn it back on, no go.
You have to reinstall Windows.
Reinstall Windows.
See, again, that sounds to me like it's resetting some sort of internal counter, and I don't know why it would be. I think you need somebody more sophisticated than I to help you to diagnose this. I don't know of any.
Oh, don't underestimate yourself.
I love this kind of problem. As somebody who loves to code as a hobby, this is the kind of thing you run into. Why is it breaking? And it's usually a logic problem. It's something you can rationally figure out if you can get all the information. Is okay? So Retcon 5 says it's resetting the clock. Interesting.
The clock.
So that's interesting. I'll be honest with you. I can't be any help, Alex. It's a high level issue. It's a fascinating issue, but I don't think it's something I'm going to be able to help you with. That would be a good one to go to Reddit on. Or Stack Exchange, but I think Reddit would be more valuable. Maybe go to the PC subreddit, or there's developer subreddits. There's probably subreddits for that Arduino. Actually, that might even be the best place to go and say, look, what is going on here? Or just go to the Windows subreddit. Somebody, somewhere, some graybeard will say, Windows, after 7 tries... decides it's not going to launch that program anymore. Just it sounds like what's going on, right? I would also check your neighbor's exact release number for Windows 10 and make sure they're on the same release, same hotfixes, all of the same things. Because maybe this was something Microsoft added. Microsoft is always putting in little security latches. Sounds like you're triggering something. Oh, here's good suggestion from the chat room. Rather than resetting the computer, when you build that PC, the first time you build Windows, create an extra or 2 user account, a new user profile. Because this is always a good diagnostic tool for Mac and PC. If something is odd, logging into an unused user profile and trying the same thing will give you some idea, at least, of where the problem lies. I'm going to bet you get 7 more tries in a new user profile, and then 7 more tries after that, and 7 more tries after that. Maybe not. Maybe it's setting a global flag in Windows. But it's interesting. Chat room's guessing maybe your program is corrupting the registry. I doubt it. I mean, if he's issuing just terminal commands with his EXE, yeah, you might try doing it by hand and see if anything triggers anything. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, technology of any stripe. 8888 Ask Leo. Yeah, Stripe too. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Or Canada. Outside that area, you can still call, but you got to use Skype or something like that. It should still be free. 8888 Ask Leo. All the things we talk about, all the links are at techguylabs.com. This is episode 1868. We've got out of the Civil War. We're in Reconstruction now. 1868. You can go right there. What we do now, because we've switched around with the website, we had shut the old one down because we couldn't afford to update it with new software. Software had aged out. And now we have links. We also have a transcript, that's new, that you can search to find a part of the show that you're interested in with time codes. And then it takes a day or two to get that up, a day or two to get up audio and video from the show. But then you can use that transcript to search and actually find the part of the show you're interested in. So it's all up there, techguylabs.com. Back to the phones. Grifton, North Carolina. Christopher on the line. Hi, Christopher.
Hey there, Leo.
Welcome. I hope you don't have a question about your Arduino crashing after 7 restarts.
No, I think you can answer my question. It's something that everybody can probably use. There's all these cloud services to back up your photos on your phone that you take.
Yes.
And I need some advice. Does it make sense to go with the cloud service from like the big companies, or is there what I'm really curious about is can you do cloud storage on your own?
Yes, you can.
Have the hard drive, have it at your house.
So here's the reason, of course, you want to do this is it's essentially for backup, right? Photos.
Yeah, it's the same. I'm using it the same exact reason people use iCloud on their iPhone.
Yeah, you don't want to ever lose a photo. Plus, there's the benefit, like with iCloud, you don't have to keep all the photos on your phone, so you don't run out of scarce memory. But you'd also like multiple copies in multiple places. Well, maybe you would. I mean, I take pictures of all sorts of stuff. I just took pictures of the serial number of my dishwasher. I'm not going to need that after a few days, I would think. So some things you want to save for a few days, some things you want to save for a lifetime. Wedding photos, baby photos, that kind of thing. I have 60. Go ahead.
The way I'd like it to work is I can take my smartphone, which I'm going to be using. I did buy the S22 Ultra. I'm already using the S21 Ultra, and I was crazy and had to see I just wanted that pen and a little better camera. But I'm with you. I didn't buy the S21. I actually, last Samsung I owned was the Flip 3, and I'm trading that in for the Ultra. But I'm a Note fan. I used to love the Galaxy Notes, and so that stylus is back, baby, and I can't wait. I'm excited. But like here's the meat to what I'm asking. I'd like to be able to take a picture on my S22 Ultra and it automatically send it to my local cloud. Yes. And I would have the hard drive on site. Do you know any brands or because I saw one, but the only problem with the one that I saw, it was kind of expensive, but I always video in 4K and 60 frames, and it would have to support that.
So video is another matter entirely. So because video is big, and so there are a lot of ways to do this. This is a very popular thing. I would submit you want more than what you're asking for. You're saying, I just want to take a picture and have it offload from my phone to local storage so I have it available. But I think you probably want it in more than one place. And that's the one problem with... Okay, good. But that's the one problem with storing it locally is... if I have it in the house and the house burns down, well, everything's gone. So any good backup strategy, and I would submit that even though you're saying, no, this is just to offload the phone, you still want to back it up, should have both on-site and off-site storage. Now, if you're going to delete it from the phone, that means, you're putting all your eggs in this basket at home. So there are a lot of ways to do this, but that's why a cloud solution is often a good idea, even if you're doing your own cloud. There are... all sorts of ways to do this. If you want to do it at home, there are network-attached storage devices. They call them NASs, N-A-S, from companies like Synology, my favorite. But there are others that will do this. In fact, Synology has a Photos app that is very much like Google Photos that runs on the network-attached storage server. From your point of view of your phone, it's still a cloud server. It's just at home instead of somebody else's cloud. There's an app on your phone so you can see the photos just as you would with Google Photos. So what Synology has tried to do is create an analog to Google Photos that is completely private. And I've tried it. It works quite well. I can recommend it. They even have, things like face recognition, automatic organization, a lot of the things that Google Photos. Now, nothing does as well as Google Photos. I have to say that. And unless you're worried about Google having access to your photos, I still think Google Photos is a pretty good deal. So it's got the cloud benefit I mentioned, even if you're storing locally, even if you're using Synology or a NAS or an internal hard drive, it does in fact store it as a secondary backup. A couple of years ago, there was a company, I can't even remember the name of it or if I would tell you, that made a little vault that you would put on your network at home. You'd put their app on your phone. It would automatically copy to the vault. This was a great idea. I loved it. It even had a screen on it, so it would do a little slideshow. And they turned off the service, making it a $400 purchase that was useless because they turned off their servers. So ever since, I've been a little leery about buying an expensive solution that relies on somebody else out there. But Google Photos, if you're an Amazon Prime member, Amazon Prime actually backs up originals. But now you mentioned video, and with all of these, video takes up so much space, there might be restrictions. For instance, Amazon Prime gives you free unlimited storage of the original stills photos, but only 10 gigabytes of video storage. And you can run through that pretty quick because video is so big. Then you'll be paying for storage. Google Photos, same thing. They give you a small amount, not a tiny amount, but a relatively small amount of free storage. You'll be paying for extra. iCloud, same thing. The nice thing about Synology, once you pay for it, and it's very expensive because you have to buy the enclosure and a bunch of drives, it's free after that, except for bandwidth. So there are a number of different ways to do this. Another free solution that people sometimes forget is the photo printing sites like Shutterfly, because Shutterfly has a real interest in printing your photos, whether for prints that you put in a photo album or for family and friends, and they make mugs and calendars and anything you want out of those photos. They will give you free unlimited storage of originals as well, with the presumption that, we're going to make some money off this guy now that we have his photos. But again, no video, because they can't print video. So video is always a little bit tricky because it's so big. And that's the other issue. You'll be using quite a bit of bandwidth on your smartphone if you're taking a lot of videos. And you will, by the way, that Samsung Ultra, the S22 Ultra, the brand new one, that's gonna take 8K video at 24 frames a second. I don't know how much that storage that's going to use up. I'll find out when I get the phone in 2 weeks, but it's probably a lot. And, that's another time where you might want to think, do I really need to shoot 8K? Yeah, it's cool, but do I really need to shoot 8K video? Who's going to be watching it on 8K? Nobody. So often I end up shooting just HD 1080p because I don't want to blow my storage out. So there are a lot of ways to do it. You mentioned Samsung. They'll also back it up. But a couple of things I would say. First of all, really consider putting it in more than one place. That's, so important. Backup, we talk about the 3-2-1 rule of backup. 3 copies of everything, 2 different forms of media, 1 off-site. That holds for photos as much as anything else, maybe more. 3-2-1 backup. So have an off-site third-party cloud service plus. There are a lot of good, I use pCloud, where you can buy an annual subscription to pCloud and get 2 terabytes of storage, or buy it annually. But pcloud.com, it's a really good, lesser-known cloud storage solution. But you buy that lifetime pricing, which is kind of a couple $100. Then you have it forever, and you got 2 terabytes in the cloud forever. That's a lot of storage, and they don't care if it's video or not because it's not what you're storing, it's how much it takes up. So that's another thing to look at. All the cloud services are good. This is an interesting problem, but there are definitely solutions. In fact, there may be more solutions in this arena than any other. 8888 Ask Leo. Coming up, Rod Pyle, Spaceman, in about 20 minutes. More of your calls, too. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. We'll talk in a bit. Are you giving me things that happened in 1868? I love it. I'll take 1868 for 100, Alex. Hello, Rod.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
We are running, NSS is running a new contest where we're going to give away money for designs for how to live in space. Can I announce that on the air?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's $16,000. It's not going to change anybody's life for long, but it's, it's money. And it's cool. It was set up by Martine Rothblatt, who started SiriusXM and then United Therapeutics, and who just transplanted their first custom-grown, genetically modified pig tissue heart into a person, and it worked.
Wow.
So you and I can live to be 150.
I think I read that story. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy survived. Not only survived, but he's doing okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're to the point where they can grow almost anything now. Oh, does my audio sound bad?
Don't watch. What are you looking at the chat room for, Rob? Don't be looking at the chat room. What do they know? Sorry. If I have a problem with your audio, I'll tell you.
I'll let you know.
I'll tell you. It's a little crunchy. Make sure you're using original sound. It's fine for the radio.
Oh, yeah. Let's check.
That's what it is. It's original sound. So it's $500 now. When I bought P-Cloud Lifetime, it was less than that, but it's $500. But if you thought you'd use it for more than a few years, that'd be a great deal. They do have a Valentine's Day special. Let's see what the Valentine's Day special is. P-Cloud's good. I like P-Cloud. It's all my fault, Joe. I have ruined life for you. 500 gigabytes, $122. Premium plus. Oh, I see. Yes, there is a deal. Oh, lifetime. Oh, $245 for lifetime for 2 terabytes. So 500 gives you 4 terabytes lifetime. So right now, Valentine's Day special at P-Cloud. 500 gigabytes lifetime. Lifetime, $122. So you get it forever. Nice. 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 Did you turn on original sound, Rod? What are you doing with your thumb? What are you doing?
I got arthritis in the finger. I'm too young for that.
Yeah, you are.
Does this sound okay?
So I just looked up my life expectancy as a 65-year-old man in the United States. I got 18 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody wanted a 19-year loan. No.
We're going to live longer because we're just going to start replacing stuff. Which there's a lot of things I'd replace. I'd start with my bad body's fat content, but I don't.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah.
You go to the gym and you see these people with like 3% body fat. You're thinking, how can you even be alive?
They say it has to do with your waist to hip ratio or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be big or small?
Well, basically, the fatter you are, the harder you fall, right?
And it's all that stuff in the middle that's the worst.
Yeah, the middle fat's bad. The omentum. Yeah. They've got a chubby omentum.
Ew.
Ew.
Kind of repulsive.
It's internal fat. It's
Yeah. That thing.
No, I know. I'm back on my noom. I got to be. I want to get more than the 18.2 years out of this.
I'm using Supernatural on VR. It's
that's a good idea. Yeah, that's really a workout, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing like 2 hours a day and I love it.
Oh, nice. I should try that. That's a good idea. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 asks Leo, I mentioned P-Cloud, not a very well-known cloud provider. I actually like them. I use them. They're out of, I think, Switzerland. But they offer lifetime cloud storage, I guess the lifetime of P-Cloud, not your lifetime. But nevertheless, they're having some pretty big sales for Valentine's Day. So let me update that information. We were talking about where can I store my photos. P-Cloud, they have apps for iOS and Android. They have apps for Mac, Windows, even for Linux. That's why I ended up using them, because I could run P-Cloud on Linux. And I bought some years ago 2 terabytes of lifetime storage. Right now they're doing a big deal. They're even selling 4 terabytes of lifetime storage. That's $500. That's a lot of money, but remember that's one time only. 2 terabytes, $245. If you think what you spend a year on cloud storage with Dropbox or somebody like that, that might be a good deal, assuming P-Cloud sticks around. They sell 500 gigabytes for $122.50. Probably should try P-Cloud first, although I guess this Valentine's special is probably not going to be around much longer, so maybe not. They will automatically copy over your Dropbox, your Facebook, your OneDrive, Google Drive, and Google Photos, so that's kind of nice. And they offer, and one of the other reasons I got P-Cloud, they offer, it's not encrypted, but there is an encrypted vault you can have that no one can read, even P-Cloud, except you. obviously. And because they're in Switzerland, I think that's probably a pretty private solution. So they're not a sponsor. I get no money from them. In fact, I spend money. I spent money on them. But I think I like pCloud a lot. I've been very happy. They have a 10 gigabyte free trial, so you might try before you buy. Rob Pyle, Space Guy, coming up in just a little bit. Meanwhile, back to the phones. Grace is on the line from Whittier, California. Or is it Whittier? Hello.
It's Whittier.
Whittier.
Hi, Leo. It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Grace. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
I'm kind of a dinosaur, not that bad of a dinosaur, but every now and then I get messages on my iPhone, and it doesn't say who it's from. It's either different telephone numbers or different emails, and they're pornographic pictures.
Oh, Lord.
And, I mean...
That is not right.
Well, I'm a senior, but I'm not that much of a prude. I know what it is.
You recognize the picture, but you just don't want to see it.
Oh, I even share it with my husband. I go, look, and then I've had some young kids that are very high tech and all that, and they just they see it and they say just delete it or block them, which I do. But then they come back after a while, within about a month.
You can't block them because they don't use real phone numbers. So this is A, illegal, B, reprehensible, C, something many of us are getting, it's hard to avoid these days, D, something the FCC should absolutely do something about, and they're not. But finally, there's somebody who can do something is your phone company.
Oh, okay.
So the point of these pictures, there's 2 points. I mean, if it's linking back to a pornographic website, it's to get you to subscribe. I think they're barking up the wrong tree. Am I right, Grace? But the other point, which is much more nefarious, is to get you to click that link. And the link is often a malicious link to malicious content. So it's not about the porn, it's about hacking your phone. So your kids are right. Delete them. Don't look at them. Don't click the links. I wish you could. It's actually even dangerous just to let those through because there have been in the past on iPhone and Android exploits that a link, even if you don't open it, just the very fact that you see it in your notifications can trigger malware. So it's very dangerous. It's not a good thing. The problem is you can't block it by phone number because they're not using a real phone number. I think you probably realize that.
Yes.
Yeah, and like with any spammer, the reply address is bogus. Otherwise, we could track those sons of guns down and punish them.
Well, why did they just selected my phone number, or what happened?
It's random. They have a random number generator that's spitting out numbers because it costs them nothing to do this, or virtually nothing. Like spam, it exists because it's cheap to do. So even though 1 in a million are going to click on that link, hey, if it only costs you a cent to get 1 million people, that's worth it.
Okay.
So
right. Well,
now, don't give up yet, because who's your carrier?
AT&T.
Okay, AT&T has spam blocking. So they absolutely have tools to protect you. In fact,
contact them and
you don't even have to. They have, what was the name of it? They were a sponsor for a long time. I'm trying to remember the name, the name of their technology, but they have special technology for this. Look in what's the name of the AT&T spam protection? Oh my goodness, I'm going to look it up now because I know fraud alert. What is it? Call Protect. No, that's not the. There's also anyway, it's an app. So go to your app store and look at the apps that AT&T offers. And there will be an app to block spam texts that will help. The Active Armor, thank you. That's the name of it. I did their ads for months. AT&T Active Armor. It's not complicated.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. So they have spam and fraud blocking technology. It won't be 100%, but it's a heck of a lot better than what you're getting. And it's shameful that you're getting it. It's awful.
No, it's disgusting. That's what it is. It's very disgusting.
It's disgusting. How dare they?
I know.
I'm offended that they even do that. But so all the phone companies now, all the cell companies now are offering something like this. But AT&T's Active Armor is actually quite good. If you go to your app store and look for it, there'll be several different programs. All of them are free. They do not charge. They do it for spam calls because we're all getting robocalls too, right? And then they'll do it for spam texts. You'll need both of those. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's horrible. Oh, it's terrible. She sounds like, doesn't she sound like, she sounds like such a sweet, she's not that old, she said, but she sounds like such a sweet, she sounds like the little old lady from I Taught, Putty Tat. What is, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Sylvester? Wait a minute, I'm going to play her voice and you could tell me.
Actually, she sounds like she's not any older than I am.
No, she's not. That's the irony, isn't it?
Yeah.
Granny, her name is Granny, is the little old lady in the Sylvester cartoon.
You leave that birdie alone.
Yes.
Oh, you three behave while I check us in.
That's perfect.
Things started off normal enough.
I think it's all, what's his name? Mel Blanc.
Oh, probably. And the music was all.
He does Sylvester.
Awesome.
Oh, I love the Looney Tunes music. In fact, there's albums of, I have a double album back when we used to get albums of Looney Tunes music.
Carl Stalling.
Carl Stalling, you know.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because my father was a musician in the LA Philharmonic and my ex-wife was a musician.
Did he play for Carl Stalling?
No, but they did a lot.
I had a Carl Stalling double album, yeah.
They did a lot of studio work, and they did record in L.A. because it was Warner's.
It was June Foray who's the voice. And you know who knows June Foray? My dear friend, Terry, comes by once in a while, former KYA jock, and he has some great stories. Yeah, it's called The Stalling Project. That's right.
Yes, that's right. I remember now. And, you know, when you read about those guys, they had so much fun. They were in this bungalow in the back of the Warner's lot, and Jack Warner barely knew they were there.
Oh, concierge, could you direct me to your restaurant?
Yeah, that's June Foray. I recognize it now. Yeah.
Oh, man.
The great June Foray. Yeah, can you forget when you're watching these, especially as a kid, there's an orchestra playing this.
Oh,
I mean, in these days,
the quality was so high.
Yeah, it's not a synth. It's not a synth. There's a bunch of musicians sitting in a room.
Almost left my umbrella
and then, not to offend anybody, but we went from that as young people to watching the Hanna-Barbera stuff. And even as a kid, I knew.
Junk.
And then, remember Gigantor, the Japanese stuff?
Oh, even worse. Or
Even
Speed
animation.
Racer.
Yes.
Oh, garbage. Yeah, I have the Carl Stalling somewhere. You know what? I'm going to go home and listen to that. During the Super Bowl, it'll be perfect. Yeah.
Oh, that's true, because you don't care what happens now, huh?
Nice kitty.
June Foray is the awesomest.
Bird wasn't the only one confused.
Oh, she was born in 53?
What?
These cartoons were done in the 40s and 50s. That's not right.
No, that's when she was active, maybe. I don't know.
No, yeah, okay. Well, but even before that.
Well, this isn't that old. This is from...
On the 5th floor.
Oh, you offended somebody with Speed Racer.
Oh.
Artistic classics.
Here.
It really depends on how old you are.
I won't arrest her
Well,
now.
I think if you sort of came of age for that, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you came of age, just after Looney Tunes.
Can we get Carl Stalling music for our advertisement music instead of this? That would be awesome. Oh, it was B. Benaderet originally. 37 through 53. That's why she sounds different. And then June Foray left. Yeah, because June Foray was part of the Ernie Kovacs, and she was of the later generation, the TV generation.
Right.
Yeah. Come on, you might have loved Speed Racer, but the animation in Speed Racer was god-awful. It wasn't animation.
Did you ever see the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons?
Oh, I love Max Fleischer. I don't know.
That animation was astonishing.
This was like, we're going to take a piece of paper, put it on a cardboard cutout, slide it around.
It was better than Clutch Cargo with the
terrible. Well, yeah, but Clutch Cargo was funny.
Yeah, but the lips.
No, I know. That was hysterical. I have made people very unhappy with my Speed Racer comment.
I was afraid of that. Oh, dear.
I think it's going to be a long, long time till touchdown, and then et cetera. It is time to talk about space with our space guy, the wonderful, talented Rod Pyle, author of so many books about space, editor-in-chief of the Ad Astra magazine at space.nss.org, and host of our new space podcast, This Week in Space, with Tarek Malik from space.com. Rod Pyle. Hello, Rod.
Hey, how are you?
Can people hear your podcast yet, or is it still in beta? I think it's still in beta.
I think it's still in beta, so it'll be in Club TWiT for at least another few weeks, and then it'll go.
We'll announce when you can subscribe to it in public.
Yeah.
But if you love hearing Rod on the radio show, and I know many of you do because I get lots of cards and letters. The cards and letters keep coming in saying so. You will love This Week in Space. Tarek's great too. Between the two of you, you're just a great team.
He's dynamite, and he's just, the guy. He has to do daily space news. I only have to do it quarterly and then weekly for you. So when you're having to stay up till 3 a.m. to follow a story, you're a true.
He probably was
person.
Right on top of that space weather fiasco with SpaceX and their satellites.
Oh,
holy
man.
cow! So what do you want to talk about today? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, the first thing I want to do is bring money to your audience. So the National Space Society is running a contest courtesy of Martine Rothblatt, who was one of the founders of SiriusXM and then later the founder of United Therapeutics. And she's very interested in the human migration to space. So she's chartered us to run a contest. Top prize is $16,000. Second is, I think, $8,000, and third is $4,000 for a business plan that is relevant to some aspect of the human migration into space. So it's very specific. So we have a website to explain this better because I can't do it in a short period of time, called spacebizplan.nss.org. That's spacebizplan.nss.org. And if you go there and you want to enter, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, but wait, now this isn't somebody with a crayon and some construction paper.
This has got to be a real business plan, but it doesn't have to be it's not 50 pages,
Okay.
It's like, okay, give us a solid 12 pages of your ideas and we're in good shape.
So frankly, really anybody could enter this?
Anybody.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
And there's a video there of her giving a couple of talks, and she is such a visionary. You and I were talking on the break, here's a woman who was doing very well at SiriusXM. Her daughter had a congenital illness, so she sold all her shares in Sirius to start United Therapeutics to learn how to grow genetically modified organs that can be transplanted into human beings.
Wow.
I mean, how cool is that? And it worked.
I think they've done it, right?
Yeah, they've done it with a bunch. They've done it with lungs. They've done it with the heart.
They've always used like pig valves and hearts and stuff like that, but
yeah.
This is a little different. This is not taking a valve out of a pig and putting it in a heart.
This is, as I understand it, this is actually growing from stem cells with modification so that there is no immune response.
Right.
So this is like putting your own organ back in you.
Right.
It just happens to be from pig tissue.
Yeah, because Lisa talks about a relative who got her heart valves replaced with pigs, and they didn't want to tell her because they knew she would be upset.
Honey, why are you making those funny noises at dinner?
But no, it's a life-saving technology. It's really, really cool. So good. All right. So
if part of her interest is that this will also go into space with us because we're going to have issues with radiation, with low gravity, micro-G, all that. It just makes sense to be able to not necessarily replace organs, but at least modify possibly the ones you have.
I think you should just short-circuit the whole thing and put pigs in space. That was a bad joke. Dad joke.
Yeah.
Spacebizplan, bizplan.nss.org.
So in addition to that, and apologies for the people who did listen to the podcast, because I'm going to go over some repeats here.
Oh, don't worry. There's no overlap. It's okay. You're safe.
Elon Musk gave a talk on Starship this week, which we were all waiting for. Not big on facts and figures, but sociologically very good.
So that's nothing new.
Sometimes he does give us a little more to chew on. This one is basically, look, we're moving ahead. Things are great. It was a love letter to Boca Chica because, no love, no launch. So he was making nice with Boca Chica. He is building a launch facility and fabrication facility at Kennedy Space Center, just in case, because Boca Chica, there's been some pushback. The FAA and EPA are doing environmental reviews, and he may not be able to continue doing what he's doing there because his original license was for the Falcon Heavy, and the next thing you know, he's building this monster Starship bigger than the Saturn V. So people are kind of going, wait a minute, we got concerns here. So that was part of it. Talked a lot about his work with NASA. Interestingly, just from a sociological perspective, he opened up with, he was showing how the Starship is going to be refueled in orbit by going belly to belly with another Starship, right?
What?
And it looked like mating whales. I admit that it did. But he started making these off-color jokes. And I was thinking,
he's
can
10.
you imagine Neil Armstrong or Walter Cronkite or James Webb, head of NASA in the 60s, making tongue-in-cheek off-color comments such as, hey, it's a fluid transfer, or we should
please don't.
I kid you not.
We don't need to hear that.
And it's like, come on, man. Guys.
Come on.
But
10 years
he
old.
did go on. Well, and honestly, that's part of his charm, though. He looks like a fifth grader giving his first book report, polishing his shoes on the back of his pant legs.
Yeah.
But and you hear, he wants to be flying these things 3 times a day. A lot of improvement on the engines. He's got all these big aspirational ideas about how many times a year he'll fly. 10 years ago, if he had said, I'm going to build the biggest rocket in history and test it on my own money, you would have
it's true. It's true. I grant you
every
that.
time I think he's pushing the envelope too far.
It's a mixed bag with Elon.
It is.
He lacks personal something.
The social cues, a few of the social cues get missed.
But at the same time, he clearly, I don't know if he's a genius, but he has a business genius that allows him to put together amazing things. And he seems to have no limits to his imagination, which is a real benefit because he dreams big and often succeeds.
And he talked again about point to point on the Earth's surface, being able to go from, LA to Singapore in 40 minutes, that sort of thing. Interesting, this first time I heard this, he said the capital efficiency of a rocket is actually better than it is for an airplane in theory over long distances, because a plane is tied up for 20 hours getting to Asia, for instance. Rocket could do it in about 45 minutes. So if they're easy to turn around once he gets them right, you get a lot more efficiency.
Yeah, but don't start counting
at a time.
Man miles, because there's no comparison at all.
Well, it's going to be a little expensive, yeah. And I'm not going to do it for the first couple of years because the going up is one thing. The coming down and getting caught by the big arms on the launch platform.
That's the chopsticks. Isn't that wild?
The monster chopsticks, which he did mention that's been as difficult and expensive as developing the rocket was developing that launch platform.
Well, duh. Who would? I mean, there's a perfect example. So if for those who haven't seen, you can go to YouTube and look at the video. He's basically created a launch gantry that has giant grabber arms.
Speaking of Gigantor.
Is gonna catch the inbound rocket before it hits the ground and then can move it around and put it back on another rocket to go again. Crazy. Who would have thought that?
And so we thought, oh, that's wild. What I also didn't know is that he's bought 2 retired oil derricks and is building floating launch and recovery platforms with that system on them. So they're going to be at sea as well. So it's just
that's interesting. So the chopsticks will be everywhere.
Well, because the idea is, it's going to be so noisy. There aren't that many places that are cleared down range of people. You don't want to drop a rocket on people.
Yeah.
So if you can launch and land at sea.
What's the name of his platform again? It's
I call it Chopstick Monster.
No, but he has a name for the platform. John knows. It's like
Cry Me a River, or just follow the instructions is one of them. I
love you. I love something with love, right? It's perfect for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Rod Pyle, space.nss.org. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Beam yourself up.
Beaming.
The drone. Of course, I still love you is the drone.
Of course,
ship.
I still love you. That's it. And the proper quote for beaming is, "I don't want my molecules scattered all over the galaxy."
The platforms are called Deimos and Phobos after the satellites to Pluto?
Well, the moons of Mars.
Moons of Mars. That's it.
Yeah. And my favorite part, I think, was his sales pitch, which said, "Here's my sales pitch: Mars will be dangerous and tough, and you might die."
Yeah. That's understating the danger.
Oh, yeah. Well, what he doesn't say is how you're going to die. So, of course, we imagine, we might crash. But if he doesn't figure out this radiation issue, you're going to bake like a potato on the way out there. So he's got some work to do.
Yeah.
And to their credit, the press grilled him on the radiation. They grilled him on life support. They grilled him on, exactly how many orbital refillings does it take to get your 100 tons to the moon?
Oh, my God.
And he didn't actually give a number. But when you think of his payload capacity, he could carry 25 Perseverance rovers in one mission to Mars.
He's exactly the tech billionaire from Don't Look Up. Have you seen that?
Yes.
He's a cross between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
He's a little more charismatic than that guy was, I think. And that guy had the kind of classic, I'm going to look over your shoulder whenever I'm talking to you thing.
Yeah.
I think Elon can't actually look into your eyes, but I do get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant film. I thought it was remarkable. As opposed to Moonfall, which we already talked about, so I won't go off on that anymore. But
Mark Rylance says, in fact, it was Elon Musk who was his role model for that character.
Are we surprised?
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I thought it was a little Mark Zuckerberg in there as well.
Yeah, you kind of assumed it was a mixture of 2 or 3
but
people.
Rylance, who does it, and what a brilliant act. I love Mark Rylance.
He was so fuzzy and tuned out. It was incredible.
Yeah. Oh, it was, I have to watch that again. I don't think it was a great movie, but boy, there were moments. I just saw it. There's outtakes of Meryl Streep as the president. She had to make a phone call, and she did 20 takes, 20 different phone calls. She ad-libbed the whole thing, and they're hysterical.
Apparently, there's a lot of ad-libbing in the film. And I have to say, when they skewered and it landed hard. I mean,
yes.
That's what got me.
That was the problem. It didn't always, but that's good. All comedy. It was hit and miss. But when
they nailed it, they really nailed it. Yeah.
I thought she was amazing as the president.
Yes. And you can't, everybody from either side of the political spectrum said, wait, you're making fun of my guy.
No, it was both.
It was both perfectly balanced, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a woman, but there's Donald Trump Jr. there.
It was amazing.
Very crafty.
Nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, good. For screenplay?
No, best movie. Wasn't it?
Better
Am I wrong? I think it was. Anyway, Rod.
Well, I hope it gets a couple.
'Tis a pleasure.
Always.
And a joy. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next week, and see you next Friday.
Enjoy what's left of the Super Bowl.
Is it over already?
I don't know. I don't watch it.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for letting me be your guy again. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time almost out. I understand there's some big game going to happen. I'm not sure when or why, but I'm glad you're here. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number for this week and every week. And I thank so much our musical director, the wonderful, the talented Professor Laura. Without her, I don't know. Well, we wouldn't have any music. So there you go. I do know we wouldn't have any music. But thank you, Professor Laura. We also thank Kim Shaffer, our phone angel. She's a miracle of patience and indulgence. And I'm talking about me, not you. Thanks to all of you for calling. I really appreciate it, and listening even more so. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you. Donna on the line from Rochester, New York. Hello, Donna.
Oh, hi, Leo. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, hi, Donna. Well, you're welcome.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow, by the way.
You too. Yes.
Well, I have a question, and I'll try to explain it the best I can. I'm sure you'll understand. I have a friend that has Wi-Fi in her house.
Yes.
She has a roommate that moved in, and the roommate uses my friend's Wi-Fi.
Of course.
And yeah, because that's the only one she could have.
That's the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And so my friend said that because her roommate clicks on everything, even stuff you shouldn't be clicking on, she clicks on everything. It affected my friend's computer.
Not really. Probably not.
Well, that's what I wondered, because
it's theoretically possible. Generally, when you click on anything, you get infected. There are infections that are what we call worms that can go through the network and infect her computer. but they're not common these days. And if she's using an up-to-date version of Windows, she's probably not suspect. What she should do is look and see if her Wi-Fi will allow for a guest network.
Oh, okay.
And if it does, it can have a separate password. Give that to a roommate, and that will be additional protection on modern Wi-Fi routers. In not all cases, but most cases, the guest network is somewhat isolated from the main network. So then you can let her roommate can click on bad sites to her heart's content. I mean, she shouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it, but at least it won't affect your friend.
Oh, okay. And somebody told my friend that she said, "Oh, this guy she knows, a real techie guy." Said, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time."
It can happen, and I explained how. It's with a network worm. So there are, for instance, ransomware. One of the things ransomware does is goes out and sees if it can find other machines on the network to infect. So if her roommate somehow got ransomware on her system, it could very well pass through the network to her computer. So get her on that guest network. Most commonplace malware does not worm itself. That's really malware aimed at businesses because, there's not much payoff to do that on a home network, but there's a lot of payoff to do it in a business.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So her, I don't know what router she has. You probably don't either.
I don't know.
Yeah. But chances are it supports a guest network.
Is it significant? Is it important what router she has?
Well, older routers won't be as she won't be as protected, and some don't have guest networks. But any modern router or certainly any of the mesh routers, she would be protected, and the guest network would be even more so.
Gotcha. Okay.
More modern is better. That's all. All right. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. It's an excellent. It's a really good question. Yeah, there are viruses, malware you can get on your home machine that will then go out and look at the network. Where this is very common and it's a real concern for IT managers, you're working from home on your laptop, you click on a bad link, you go to a website, you get infected, then you come into the office with this infected laptop, and now it goes out and infects the whole network. And that's a lot of times how ransomware gets into a commercial network. So it is, it's not impossible. It's just that most of the run-of-the-mill malware you get on a PC, most of the time it's not that. It's just, it's adware, it's stuff like that. So I guess it's completely possible, that she, really got some nasty stuff on her system that's spread. But generally it's not the case. So yeah, isolator. That's the key, isolator. Jim, Laguna Beach, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, lovely Leo.
Hi. Are you? Is this Jim?
This is Pat, because Jim made the call because he can't explain my problem.
No, well, you should do it, Pat. Absolutely. Go right ahead.
All right. So 3 days ago, for some reason on my HP computer, I could no longer receive my MSN email. They told me that my password was no good and I would have to redo it. But I can receive it on my iPhone. No problem. I have now tried to follow their instructions to redo the password, and I answer all these questions, and I fill out all this stuff, and nothing happens. I've tried.
Are you using the MSN interface, or have you gone over to Outlook.com like Microsoft wants you to?
I've tried both.
Okay. And they both fail.
Yes.
Because Microsoft has essentially shuttered MSN. I mean, it's still around. You're still paying for it. But they want you to use Outlook.com, and that's going forward the future.
Okay.
So if you're using the MSN Butterfly, do you still see the Butterfly?
Yes.
Yeah, that might be the problem. The Butterfly is deprecated. There's no more Butterfly.
But I get it on my iPhone.
Yeah, probably because, I don't know. Maybe because, I don't know why. Are you using an MSN app on your iPhone?
No, I just, where it says phone, I go in and it says Outlook, MSN, iCloud.
Yeah.
I always use the MSN.
That's fine because although that may also end up getting phased out. But for now, that's fine. You're setting up the email using Apple's Mail, connecting to your MSN account. That's, in a sense, what you're going to be doing with Outlook.com. You're going to set up Outlook.com to access your MSN mail. The Butterfly is being phased out. So if you can still get the Butterfly to launch, you can export all your mail. Otherwise, what you want to do is go to Outlook.com, click sign in, and you should be able to use your MSN email name and password to log in. Now, if it's saying that's the one where it's saying it's wrong.
Yeah, no, it will not allow me to do that. It says that, nope, the password is wrong.
Yeah. So that's where you want to do forgot my password.
Which I did.
And it's still not working.
No. I can't get through having done this 3 times, they send the code, I put the code in, and the questions I answer, and then I do everything they ask.
And it still doesn't work.
Nowhere. Goes nowhere.
That's a different problem.
I know. I've talked to the Geek Squad. I've talked to HP. I've talked to Apple.
It's really a Microsoft. It's all about Microsoft. You want to get your MSN, which is Microsoft Network account, ported over to an MSA, which is a Microsoft account. And I'm looking up to see if there's a way to do that.
You will be my new hero.
Yeah. So your phone still works because you had it all set up. If you were to get a new phone, it wouldn't work again. So
I get that. That's what Apple told me.
Yeah, it's set up, but it's because it's got a token. It's not looking at your password anymore. But if you were, you're going to have some problems. I have run out of time. I'm going to put some links in. I think it's a call to MSN support. That's what I think. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.